year long, an intensity that they can't match. And the other thing is the ultimate disrespect is when somebody takes what's yours. And this is our game, so that makes it so personal. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
I need 60 minutes. 60 minutes to me. 60 minutes. No business, no mercy. Nothing but stop bubble. You got me. We're going to ring the bell. We're going to ring that championship bell.
Ding, motherfucking dog!
Here comes the pressure. Penix fires over the middle, and it is intercepted. Mikey Sanders still going the other way.
The legend of Mike Sanders still continues to grow.
JJ takes the snap, flips the ball to Roman Wilson after he takes a knee, and Michigan, the Wolverines, have won a national championship.
First and goal. Mahomes flings it. It's there! Hardman! Jackpot! Kansas City!
This was the Andy Reid special we talked about. He was saving all day. He's going to fake a motion to go across. And at that moment, he turns and goes back Hardman, who they didn't have, right?
On this touchdown throw to Mecole Hardman, who started the season as a Jet.
And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
Last week we said in the locker room, nobody but the guys in that locker room knew how good this group can be. Now the whole damn country knows how good it is.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, Huddle Up Podcast. It is Tuesday, December 17th, 2024. We are glad to be back with you. We hope that your holiday prep is going well. If you have not begun, well, you're running well out of time, as Christmas Eve is a week away. Christmas is 8 days away. We have a big show lined up here in front of you. We have, but make sure you are following along with all of our social channels at Huddle Up Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky, and TikTok. We have our Instagram is at Huddle Up Podcast Inc. Twitch is at Huddle Up Inc. So make sure you subscribe and follow and share wherever you can on those. We have our merchandise over on our TeePublic store. You can get that link directly on all of our social channels in the link tree. So make sure you go over there and grab that. I'm not sure if you'll get it by Christmas, but nothing better, no better way to start the new year than with some Huddle Up merch. So go ahead and grab that while you can. So we got the gang is all here, except for Student of the Game. He may be joining us. If not, we will press on without him this week, but I will start here next to me, Ernest EJ Christian. How we doing this week?
I'm doing okay. Looking forward to the holidays, man. It's the first time of year. Family and food and all that good stuff.
All right, very good. Mikey B, how we doing?
We're here.
Good. Good. That's how it does feel some days, doesn't it? Matt, how we doing this week?
Doing well. Eagles beat the Steelers, so happy household for me. Not so much for my wife, but unlike some people on the show, I don't just root for the team my wife roots for and eventually make it my own team more so than the team that I originally said I was a fan of. But that's just me.
Allegedly.
Sean, how we doing this week?
Doing good. Coming in from a kind of a sunny holiday week here in Tampa Bay. And like Matt said, got to see not only an Eagles win, but probably the highlight of my week, the closing out a game with 11 minutes to play with a goal line to goal line drive and a kneel out and not letting the Steelers touch the ball in the second half of that fourth quarter. That really set up my week with a mini win there. So we'll hang it on the offense, hang it on the defense, and hang it on some sunshine down here in Tampa Bay.
I don't what's the sun? What is that?
Yeah, we have it. We got I think we got 5 inches of sunshine today.
Yeah. Wow. Oh wait, we another call from coming in 2 days, Sean and Mike.
Yeah, I know. I'm super stoked for it.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be 60 degrees.
It's coming one day late for a holiday sweater day at school, so I'm not really sure how I'm going to do with ugly sweater day and 75, 80 degrees, but we'll figure it out.
I mean, you know they make T-shirts that look like holiday.
Who's tiny hand for that?
That would be the missus.
Uh-huh.
It's Jim Harbaugh's hand. Jim Harbaugh coming to you live. The Harbaughs are everywhere.
See, Ernest has no Christmas lights up in the van.
No, not this year.
They're on the outside.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I guess I'll do it. Speaking of Christmas, Tool Shed.
Oh, so Mr. My Secret Santa is this dude here, and he actually came to my house like 2 hours ago to deliver my
Oh boy!
So he told me to open on the air. So I don't know.
I said he had to open it on the show.
So he told me he's gonna open on the show. I don't know what is in his box. I'm scared. I shook it.
You should be petrified.
Bomb.
I shook it and it scared me.
Shake it real hard.
Is it a fucking bomb in here, dude?
No, just shake it really hard. Congrats. It was a guinea pig.
And
it was a bomb.
No. And he's gone.
He's gone.
I'm back.
We've lost the van.
Hold on.
Look how scared he is to open the present. This is why you watch us on YouTube, folks.
He's watching. He's waiting for just get punched in the face.
Come on, glitter bomb.
That would have been a good idea, actually.
Just make sure you open it on the air. Boom! Just there it is. What's in the box? It's Jim Harbaugh. He's in there.
I'm scared to look, dude.
You'll be fine. It's nothing that's gonna kill you.
It's the Giant Super Bowl hopes. Yes, it's an empty box.
Yes.
EJ, if one of us wanted you dead, it would have already happened.
Oh!
I got him. I got him something really cool. It's the best quarterback in his mindset.
A quarterback. He's a quarterback.
Hope you got your quarterback.
Oh hell yeah!
Look at that.
Go Heat, bitch!
There it is.
Thank you, Michael.
You're very welcome, sir.
If you flip it, it turns into a Knicks logo, and then if you flip it again, it's also the Nets.
Hey, Sean.
It's magic.
Hey, Sean, go fuck yourself.
It's the Magic on one side, the Nets and Knicks on the other. The Rangers show up if you shake it real hard.
Beautiful. I like this. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate this.
Is it as big as your head, Ernest?
Nothing's that big.
Nothing's that big, brother. Nothing's that big.
Nothing is that big.
I'm on my Kirk Cousins grind now. You know.
There you go.
Instead of Kirko chains, we got rapist van chains.
Originally, when I was doing your names, the van man pulled the van man.
He's the only person in Secret Santa history that can pull himself out of the hat.
And he still probably would have complained about the gift he bought for himself.
Sean, do you know the story?
Oh, this guy's a cheap ass.
Sean, do you know the story about the gift that Matt was mine 2 years ago?
Yeah, I did not know.
When he got me 2 years ago, where's it at? Matt, you want to tell us the gift you got me 2 years ago?
So we did a sports movies draft in the off season, and EJ bailed like he always does. So we all drafted for him and picked the 6 worst sports movies that we could think of for each sport, and I bought him a copy of each film on DVD for Christmas Day.
I got breaking news,
including my most valuable primate.
That's so good.
Hey, first of all, MVP is a phenomenal film.
It's Penix time. Kirk Cousins bench for the Falcons.
Oh, officially now?
Yes, officially, yes.
Okay, because I saw earlier today he was non-committal about it, but
I was curious to see if they would try to let Kirk set it right against the Giants, or look at that game as like this might be the perfect tune-up.
I mean, dude, they almost lost to the Raiders. The Desmond Ritter Raiders
last night.
The Desmond Raiders.
The Desmond Raiders.
Yeah, that last touchdown kind of fucked me.
Yeah, like just that game. Yeah, that had to seal his fate, man. It really.
Man,
did.
they must be everybody down here is gonna be licking their chops on sports radio tomorrow.
I might do every show on this with this.
But I know there's a lot of talk. It sets up. Except if he can get a little bit under his shoes, it does set up a last week of the season. Michael Penix versus Jason Campbell, probably with a lot on the line. I think it's Falcons. Falcons Commanders. I don't know if it's the last week or second to last.
Oh, JT Daniels, you mean?
And here's the thing.
Jaden Daniels, not Jason Campbell.
And here's the
former,
thing.
Jason Campbell, Jaden Daniels.
former Washington Redskin great. Jason Campbell.
Campbell Soup, what the fuck's the matter?
He wasn't that bad.
Well, we
man.
need
He's
to
just
channel.
healthy.
He needs to channel his inner Jason Campbell. So he needs to.
Yeah.
No, I
2-0,
think the
3-0.
Cowboys play the Commanders in the last week of the
Is that the last one? I think they still have a game coming up though.
The Atlanta Fraud Cons.
Devin says he was hoping your gift was going to be a bandwagon so you can stay.
Oh
in
yeah,
on
it's the
for
second.
once.
It's week 17
Yeah, Giants, Commandos, Panthers.
I
on
think
Sunday
Devin,
Night Football.
I think Devin's mad at me because I had the Dolphins winning out the rest of the year, and then they first game out the shoot.
Oh, yeah, you jinxed them.
There you go.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Yeah. Not great, Bob.
Yeah, that one went sideways real quick.
Down the fucking toilet.
Hey, Devin,
Pretty
welcome.
Sure I called that last week.
Hey,
I'm
Devin,
pretty
welcome to Ernest killing any shot your team has of winning football games at any point.
Yeah,
in
at least he didn't get
2024.
you 6 weeks in a row like he did for
Tyreek Hill? No. Season's
Listen.
going downhill. That's what it is.
Listen,
Season's
my
going
Bengals
downhill.
are still alive, buddy.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh man,
Oh,
why would you do that?
Hey, the Chargers are falling apart, man. So maybe this.
Okay, but the issue is it's not just the Chargers they have to jump. They need Indianapolis to lose 2 out of 4. They need the Broncos to lose 3 out of 4. They need the Chargers to lose however
Indianapolis
many.
is
It'd be
very
hard
realistic.
considering the
Broncos
Broncos
not
and
so much.
Chargers play each other this
You
week.
mean Sean's Colts?
I mean, I'm just saying the Colts and Broncos played. What happened was we really needed the Colts to beat the Broncos. They didn't. So now the Broncos finish with like
That made it real hard.
us. They play us in week 17, but then they have like the Chargers and the Chiefs sandwiched around it.
I mean,
And if the
you're 1,000% rooting for the Broncos over the Chargers this week.
Correct.
Yeah, you're hoping to catch the 7 seed and nothing else at this point.
Well, the other, but you have to remember the issue with that is I don't necessarily know that we can jump the Chargers because we lost to them.
Well, there's 3 games
fine.
left and you're 2 games behind them. So
That's what I'm saying. Well, we
yeah.
need the Chargers to lose out, basically.
Right. Yeah. If the Chargers win, I think you're.
And the Chargers finish Broncos at the Patriots, and then Desmond Ritter and the Las Vegas Raiders.
God bless you. At least ain't 2-12.
I'm just saying it's one of those hurdles where the Broncos matchups would have made more sense for them to fall. The Chargers matchups, it's like, do I really think that Jacoby Brissett or Desmond Ritter are going to win football games and cost their team draft picks? Probably not.
Probably not. But
Jim, how you doing today? How you doing? I mean, say hi to
good,
you.
man. I'm good. I'm ready for the holiday. Got some time off of work towards the end of the year here, so
yeah,
looking forward to it. But let's go ahead and jump in here. If I can find the music. Where did it? Hold on. Did I lose the? Nope, there it is.
You're a little rusty there, buddy.
Well, no, I added something to the board.
Oh,
so as we do each and every week, we look back at the weekend that was, and we talk about what we learned this past weekend. So, EJ, we'll start with you this week. What did you learn this past weekend?
What I learned this weekend is that I think probably the first time in quite a while, if certainly recent memory, that this is actually one of the most deepest coach of the year races through 15 weeks I think I've seen in a long time. You have there's about 5 or 6 guys that could legitimately have a case coach of the year this year. You're talking about anywhere from Sean Payton to Mike Tomlin, Kevin O'Connell. I've heard people say Todd Bowles has a conversation. There's a lot of guys. Dan Quinn, another one. There's a lot of guys that has a good case for coach of the year. I mean, I have my favorites obviously, but I just think there's a lot of really good coaching jobs this year that we should be talking about, aside from the top ones, of course. But this is a very deep coach of the year race, 16 weeks in.
Yeah, there's been a lot of really good coaching jobs and coaches that have done more with their teams this year than expected. I think if you really get down and look at it, I think the actual who should / will win the award is a tighter group, but there's a lot of people who you can look at from where we thought they were going to be this season to where we are now heading into the last 3 weeks of the season that you can go, wow, this group definitely over exceeded what we thought. This was a really hell of a coaching job. Yeah, there's been a lot of really good coaching jobs this year.
Yeah, I mean, while there's a lot of people that I think have their name in the quote running, I really don't think it's more than a 3, maybe 4-legged race. down to the wire. I mean, Minnesota with what they did with the ghost of Sam Darnold, Sean Payton, and getting Bo Nix to not get nixed. Harbaugh, because we talked about this on the show leading into the regular season. We couldn't name a wide receiver on that roster not named Ladd McConkey, and the only reason why we knew him is because he was drafted by him in the draft.
Name.
And he was a leprechaun. I mean, at the end of the day, we couldn't name anyone that was playing wide receiver. I remember having exchanges with Jim going, why haven't they kicked the tires on a guy like Michael Thomas? Why haven't they kicked the tires on potentially trading for Brandon Cooks? Why haven't they called Cincinnati about trying to get T. Higgins if things went awry in Cincinnati? Like, just off the wall stuff. And I mean, they've gotten superior performances out of Quentin Johnson, who somehow figured out how to catch a football 1 year later. McConkey's been playing out of his mind. Will Dissly's been a top probably 7 tight end in football. You know, so it's one of those things you got to give him a ton of credit for that. The defense played out of its mind. You know, and it's like, I think you can put some other people in the conversation. Dan Quinn, because nobody thought the Commanders were going to be competitive. But I think you look at that and it's a tale of 2 seasons for them. Like, if they would have kept the hot streak and, you know, he didn't get hurt, Jaden Daniels didn't get hurt, and then they lose a couple of games that they probably should have won, he's probably in the running for it. But he kind of fell back to earth with the losses that they probably shouldn't have had.
How would you rank him, Mike? You said you had 3 or 4 guys. How would you rank it? Because I think that's the interesting part. It's like, who would you put like 1, 2, 3 in order right now?
What's the name of the coach for Minnesota?
Kevin
O'Connell.
All right, so it's Kevin O'Connell. It's Sean Payton. It's probably Harbaugh after that. It's probably my top 3.
Yeah, I think to me O'Connell should be the.
I think O'Connell's
the guy
kind
driving the bus right now.
Yeah,
I think O'Connell's kind of put himself. I'm not going to say clear of the rest of the field, but we're living in a world, and I know Justin Jefferson, to quote Ernest Christian, 1A, 1B in the best wide receiver in football conversation there. But Jordan Addison's been playing out of his mind. They've gotten, good play out of Aaron Jones. He's been able to stay healthy. Shocking. You put him outside of the cold weather and you put him in a dome where it's climate
Cam
controlled.
Akers is actually a hell of a running back.
Yeah. TJ Hawkinson's come back from the injury. He's looked good. The defense has been playing pretty good, and they're in a spot where with 3 weeks left to go, guess what? Nobody on this panel had that team as the team that was going to be in second place fighting the Detroit Lions for the fucking playoff for the home.
Especially not when JJ McCarthy went down.
Correct. As soon as he went down, we were all looking at going, all right, so this is like a 6-win team. We're probably going to be like
really, really great. Way to go, Minnesota.
Probably going to have like the 9th pick in the draft. Probably going to draft somebody on the offensive line to help next year. All right, cool. Good talk. Now we're like, hey, they could actually be the 2 seed in the NFC.
Yeah.
You guys agree with that too, Matt and Eagles panel now? You get O'Connell right now?
They have a very realistic path to the 1.
Oh my! They went out to the 1.
Everybody's tied now, and they play Detroit. Last week of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it requires an Eagles fall off. 1 game, but that's always possible. But
I don't think it requires that. Honestly,
do they have a tiebreaker with Philly? Because that's where we're at now.
I think it's the strength of schedule they would get.
Isn't it wins? Isn't it that? But isn't it like wins in conference?
Yeah, I think that would be the same.
Like opponents.
I think it would be common opponents, maybe. But
I'll say so. Minnesota. The reason Detroit's currently leading is because they have
won
a
their
better
first match
percentage in the conference. Eagles and Vikings are both 7-2 currently in the conference. So then, I think the next one is common opponents. I think
Detroit also leads Minnesota because they have the win over Minnesota the first time they played.
Yeah. So the current gambling odds, if these mean anything, Kevin O'Connell leads the pack. Then it's Dan Campbell, Sean Payton, Dan Quinn, Mike Tomlin, Andy Reid, Sean McDermott, Nick Sirianni.
I don't love that Sean McDermott is that low. I get it. It's Josh Allen, and I get it. He's like a fucking cheat code or whatever. But like, man, that's just one that I don't love.
I think the lack thereof in that division probably.
It's probably because the Dolphins and the Jets played. Like,
it probably hurts the Nick Sirianni calls a bit.
But I don't think people thought Buffalo would be this good either, though. We thought Buffalo took a
no, but again, it's we knew Buffalo's good. They've been in the the top teams in the AFC conversation for the last few years. Combine that with the AFC East being an absolute shit show.
You want to
outside of Buffalo, it doesn't mean that he's not doing a good job. It just means when you look at what other coaches and other teams are doing, his doesn't look as strong.
You want to know the fun part about this? I'm looking at the predictions from the start of the season. None of us picked the Bills to win the division.
None of us did?
Ernest had them missing the playoffs altogether, as did Kyle. And we're sitting here going, we knew the Bills were good.
Just goes to prove we know nothing. Mikey P, what did you learn this past week?
Oh shit! What I learned this week is that whoever is scheduling prime time games in the NFL could give less than one fuck about what they put on Amazon Prime or on ESPN, because those 3 games sucked out loud.
Yep.
Rams Niners, no thanks. Both Monday night games, garbage. What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
Monday Night Football they don't have any flex scheduling for those. So it's like,
yeah.
But at the beginning of the year, you can see why Rams Niners would have potentially.
Sure, I mean, who knew we were going to get to, the injury show plus a monsoon?
Well, that was probably a generic, like Kirk Cousins, Monday night, like let's get him. No one saw the fall off happening there.
Well, I mean, honestly, on paper, the first one, Minnesota, Chicago, it makes sense. Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy, battle of first quarterbacks taken. Right. That writes itself. But when you got a in-state rivalry of Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia, you got Buffalo against Detroit. You have
Seattle, Green Bay.
But that was the Sunday night game. That game,
right,
I
was
think.
Sunday night.
So, but I'm saying if you look at it on paper, I think, why are we putting Perk Thuggins, who can't win in the playoff, or can't win on primetime, in a primetime game again?
Well, they still give him the games. Like, and people thought this. How many of you picked the Falcons to win the NFC South?
I did.
I probably did.
I did.
I was the only Buccaneer.
Me, Jim, Ernest, Kyle, and Matt all took the fraud cons.
Okay, so
congrats, Sean.
They all.
But the division isn't over yet, bud.
I know, but we're a few games out. I'm not saying you're wrong. What I'm saying is the fact that everyone thought that, and that this was a exciting new home for Kirk, and it was an exciting new start for Atlanta. I think giving them a primetime game with 3 weeks to go didn't seem like a bad idea.
It's a bad idea when it's the Las Vegas Raiders, though.
Yeah.
Oh, that Raiders team almost made it to the playoffs last year.
They did,
and they were playing decent until Gardner Minshew got hurt and other guys got hurt, and you traded Devontae Adams. But I think the thing to remember too, with at least with Monday night scheduling, is there's a limit on how many Monday night games each team can play. So like I don't have the full.
They have
schedule.
to cycle some bad ones in.
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't have the full schedule in front of me, so I don't know how many Monday night games the Eagles and Steelers and Lions and Bills had already played. Plus, and this is kind of why the NFL does put some of those bad teams on Monday night, is it's the only game in town. So like no matter how bad it is, you're still going to be watching because the NFL is king.
It is pretty competitive, obviously.
So like, you put the Steelers, Eagles, and Lions, Bills competing with each other, CBS versus Fox on the 4:00 games on Sunday. You're hoping that people are flipping back and forth between the two. You're hoping that people, are watching one on their TV and one on their iPad or one on their second TV or whatever.
I was more frustrated the fact that the 4:00 for once in it was
loaded.
The 4:00 was better than the 1:00 one.
Yeah.
So,
it was a loaded 4:00.
So the Lions are going to end up playing two
what, Sunday night games?
2 Monday night games. The Bills had 2. Steelers, they had 1 against the Giants, and the Eagles had,
I think, just 1 against
1.
the Falcons, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Week 2.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is sometimes.
I'm just saying, when you look at it like this Monday, it kind of feels like a real stinker. I get it. Like Derek Carr versus Jordan Love, Saints versus
when you
Pack.
had the Lions at 2, did that include the one they have coming up?
Yes.
Okay.
It was, they played one that they won, and then they play the Niners week 17, which on paper, again, that sounds like a game that you're dying to see if all the parties stay healthy.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a maximum Monday night. I think it's a maximum
prime time in general.
Yeah, prime time in general. So
And
that would count Thursday, Sunday, and Monday. And I think they want to keep some of the later weeks potential for flex games for some of the bigger games as we get towards the end of the year.
No, like I said, I get that part, but like some of these.
Oh, and especially when you're doing two, I guess if you have two bad ones.
Yeah, say if you can give me one.
Give me one decent one.
I mean, if you put, you know what?
Which the Falcons Raiders ended up coming down to the wire at least.
Houston versus Miami. You put that in instead of one of them. At least on paper, that sounds like two teams that are playing potentially for a playoff spot.
Sure.
I could have gotten behind it, even though Tua didn't play real great. Sorry, Devin.
Stinks. I'll say it. He stinks.
He definitely stunk on fucking Sunday.
Like, whether it's the concussion, the fear of concussion, whether he's just not good, I don't know. All right, Matt, what did you learn this past weekend?
That no matter what the Philadelphia Eagles do, the media is going to find something to complain about. And it's extended because it used to just be the Philly media, which I tolerated because I could tune out. But now it's everyone. It's everyone just nitpicking what's happening on the sideline, like adults don't have conversations with other adults ever. So I guess unless the Eagles, after every play, just give each other a polite nod and then sit in silence for the next series until they're back on the field, there's going to be something more to fuss about. And I don't get it anymore.
Matt, is Philadelphia a very unhappy city in general?
Yes.
In general.
It's a chip on the shoulder kind of city. I feel like, people feel underappreciated and like it's just kind of, but when the Eagles win, it helps, it's that kind of place.
It helps the fans to an extent,
right?
But it infuriates the media.
Right, because there's nothing negative to write about, so they have to go find it.
They have to go searching for it, and now it's extended.
Now, I don't know the full context because I didn't care to really dig into it. But like, what wasn't the drama or supposed drama this week stemming from something that Brandon Graham apparently said?
That was last week.
Last week he's the one that pointed out that there was a rift between potentially AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, and there was a problem with the passing game.
And then AJ Brown said their celebration was to let everyone know to shut up, and the media was appalled. They're like, "We didn't create this story. You guys did." When it was like, okay, he said one word passing, and all of a sudden it was every single player on the Eagles team hates each other. What's the narrative there? But this week it was Jalen Carter punching the Steelers player in the face. Sirianni went to talk to him. The D-line coach said, "I already addressed this," and Nick and the D-line.
Yeah, I saw that. The D-line coach stepped in Sirianni's way and was like, "I got it."
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And
it was a big thing. Like, well, does he have leadership, or like, does he have, does he have the locker room if these other coaches are stepping in? I did. The media down here talked about it on the afternoon show on my ride home. I heard it, so I was like, is this seriously a thing?
Which is wild because remember when Kelsey screamed in Andy Reid's face in the Super Bowl, and everyone was just like, who cares? It was like a thing for 13
I remember it was the Swifties that had the backlash on that one because they were like, well, if he's yelling at Andy Reid, what's he doing with Taylor behind closed doors?
Yelling at her. That's the answer. He's
yelling at her.
Standard. People Magazine. Standard.
Yeah.
He's demanding money.
Sean, what did you learn this weekend?
I mean, I learned a lot of things. I thought a lot of things started to, we've been talking about the cream rising and the sediment settling at the bottom, and I don't know. I feel the top got a little more muddled, not necessarily by anyone's fault, but I learned in the 4:00 games, particularly Buffalo, Detroit, one, that I'm finding it harder after the last few weeks to call the Buffalo Bills a defensive team. Man. That's a lot of points in 2 weeks that they have given
90 points in 2 weeks.
Yeah, consecutive 40-point. I mean, good Lord, man. I mean, some of that is a healthy Rams team that is catching fire at a good time, but still, that's supposed to be Sean McDermott defense. I don't think those two games are going to help McDermott's Coach of the Year effort at all either. But I also learned that the emergency room and hospital closest to Ford Field is becoming a very busy place, and the Lions are building their own wing. That's what I'm learning, and I think Jim, you said something when I brought it up. I mean, it's got to be becoming a problem at this point, right? I mean, we said that before Montgomery went down, and so now
that was the two more defenders out.
And you have Aleem McNeil, who's not a big stat guy, he's not a big sack guy necessarily, but he is a rock in the center of that defensive line, and now he's gone for the year. Montgomery gone for the year. You had another injury in the secondary that turned out not to be season-ending, but I mean, these guys are dropping like flies up there. It's like they're playing. It's like they're playing in New Jersey. It's hard to really see.
Yeah, the Lions
not affecting things.
The Lions have given up over 101 points in the last 3 weeks to Chicago, Green Bay, and Buffalo.
Every week you got to bring a whole new defense up to speed. 2 weeks ago, they brought in 3 new linebackers, including Quan Alexander, and trying to get them to not only be on the defense but lead it. You have a middle linebacking tandem that hasn't played together. That's a big ask, especially in the second week of it, to go against Josh Allen. So I don't know what you can take from it, but I mean, if you're looking at a number 1 seed, I think it's going to become a problem if you're going to have to compete with these teams at the top. I mean, they're obviously a playoff team that's already determined,
right?
But you start to ask yourself, if you drop another one, or if you drop one here this week, I don't know if they're going to, but if it were to happen, you got to start to ask you, we got to keep some guys healthy, right? We got to figure this out. If we're up early,
you have 3 physical games. You have 3 physical games left on the schedule. You're at Chicago, you're at San Francisco, who even at whatever condition they're in now are a physical team, and then you host Minnesota to close the year.
Well, in Chicago, if your weakness is defense and you're giving up a lot of points, I know Chicago's had its ups and downs and rookie quarterback and everything else, but I mean, they have a lot of weapons to defend against, and if you're doing it with second and third tier guys, you're in trouble. So they're going to have to score.
Since November 30th, Malcolm Rodriguez, linebacker, IR. Mekhi Wingo, D tackle, IR. David Montgomery, MCL, gone. McNeil, D tackle, IR. Carlton Davis, corner, jaw, IR today. Khalil Dorsey, corner, IR today.
Raymond too, right? Because Khalif Raymond's out for the year, and
Correct.
He's their big return guy and third wide receiver. Now they have a Tim Patrick that's plugged in pretty well in that wide receiver role, but I mean, you're just and they've had defenders that have been out for stretches of games. Both
Hutchinson.
starting safeties. Well, Hutchinson's the big name, but both safeties, Branch and Arnold, have both been out for multiple games this year.
Alec Anzalone, their
Angeloni was the other big one because
it's brutal, man.
Yeah, the two big, that was the second big defensive piece that went, and I mean that's over half your defense, gone, and three or four of them are former Pro Bowlers. It's Rodriguez is the one that for me, obviously the other ones are all sad for the Lions, but Rodriguez has been a rotational guy and was asked to step in and had a dynamo first game. He went in. He had I think 10, 12 tackles, had a sack, and then next week, boom, gone.
I mean, if you bring up on ESPN, if you go on the Lions roster page and just go to depth chart and scroll to the defense, it's like the starters that are there right now, backups with random names. The backup strong safety is on IR, and the backup right corner is on IR, and then your third and fourth stringers are all guys that are on injured reserve.
Yeah, it's because
there's no
guys
depth
off the practice squad every week.
I mean, I will say this fascinating name that I'm going to bring up, and this is a discussion that if you guys want to run with it, you can. If not, you can let it sit for a week. David Montgomery out, Jahmyr Gibbs in. Is this a potential landing spot for the now waived Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
It should
I think
be.
It's convenient timing. I also think they're going to kick the tires on guys like Jerick McKinnon, who was never signed at the start of the year, so would have presumably fresh legs. There were a couple. There were two big names that were unsigned, and I was looking, and I'm looking at it because I have a fantasy team that's all Lions, and I've been riding these two running backs. I mean, whatever the case, I don't think it's going to happen this week. I think they're going to
Yeah, I think they're going to play this
You're
week.
going to have your bell cow. You did draft a running back in the 4th round. I don't think he's the 2. I think Reynolds is going to fill in as the 2.
Is Kareem Hunt available?
Kareem Hunt is not available.
Is he still in
on the
Cleveland?
Chiefs. They stuck with him over.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, there's a couple guys that had roles last year. Latavius Murray was the other one I thought that they might kick the tires on. A guy that, you can ask to go up the middle, and, he's whoever it is going to be the B. They're not going to come in and be Gibbs is going to be the workhorse. And so you just need and for that, I would say if you need a guy that's going to be the punch to kind of counter, Murray might not be a bad guy to kick. He ran pretty well for a few games last year. You only need him for a stretch. Might not be a bad play if he's in good shape, but I don't know. I think they're going to test it this week. If those backup guys fill in nicely and everything looks fine, I don't think they're going to make a lot of changes. I think Man Campbell's going to.
Let's go, Melvin Gordon.
We got a comment there in the YouTube. Yeah, we did touch on Michael Penix being named the starter in Atlanta. Definitely the right choice. That team is definitely heading the wrong.
The Penix might have.
There have been some other quarterback changes announced today as well. Titans officially benched.
Did they finally bench Jalen Hurts?
They benched the mayonnaise Messiah. He's done.
Really?
I heard he was going. Yeah, I heard he was
really.
And the Browns, I believe there's speculation that they're going to start DTR instead of James Winston this week.
Yeah, I don't think they fully committed to that yet, but there's a lot of talk.
Well, if you watch the game, the 2024 Jameis Winston is Jameis Winston.
Yeah,
it's good when it's good. It's bad when it's bad.
Really bad when it's bad. Yep.
Yeah. So
he had a few games to settle in, and defenses watched who he was looking at and when and what sort of tell. He's got to have tells. There's got to be something that defensemen are like, oh, he's doing this.
Yeah,
it's coming right at me.
Well, that and underthrowing his receivers by 4 and 5 yards helps the defense as well.
That helps a lot. Yeah.
All right. So I learned two. I was going to talk about the Lions thing as well if nobody else did. But I learned 2 things in college football this past weekend. One, not that I thought they did, but some people did. Army, we learned that Army did not get screwed out of a college football playoff berth.
No, they didn't.
But more importantly, I think we're learning now more than ever in this 12-team playoff era, college football needs to fix the portal timing. I don't know what the easy answer is. I know there's theories about tightening up the number of buys and making sure you end by the national championship is played on like January 1st or 2nd, and then you open the portal right after. But here's the deal. It really was kind of spotlighted because there's a team playing Saturday at noon who has lost their backup quarterback, who has played multiple times this season due to injury or whatever. And look, I have no problem watching Penn State lose to SMU, but there's no reason that a team competing for a national championship should have to lose starters or immediate backups because of the portal. I'm pro portal. I'm pro all of this stuff that's happening with college football. I think it has made the game very exciting, very unpredictable. But they need to fix the timing on this.
Well, didn't it crush Marshall too? I know it's not.
Marshall dropped out of
their
bowl game
because everyone transferred.
I mean, here's the deal. I don't. If it impacts,
that was a coach firing, wasn't it? That spurred that.
No, it's just they're all going to the portal. They won the conference. They won the conference title game.
Oh, okay. I saw there was a team that everybody was leaving because they fired a coach. I didn't see who it was.
No, I think their coach left to take the job at Southern Miss, and the majority of the team entered the portal to they want to go. A lot of the players want to go with him, I believe.
That's pretty wild.
Now here's the thing, because the portal impacted Notre Dame and Oregon State's bowl game last year, to where Oregon State was basically depleted, didn't have a head coach. If the Sun Bowl on December whatever gets impacted by transfers, to me that doesn't. And maybe I'm wrong in this assessment. To me, that doesn't impact a whole lot of anything. If anything, it's giving guys playing in practice time that probably wouldn't have gotten playing in as much practice time with those guys leaving. But when it's impacting the teams that are in pursuit of a national championship, I think that exposes like the bigger problem with it.
Well, and I think if teams in the playoff are losing guys, I think you're going to see the NCAA make it, especially if it seems to affect, because you've put a lot of stock and a lot of negotiations and a lot of money, and you're getting a lot of advertising dollars from this playoff. And so if this transfer portal is going to affect it, and I'm kind of with you, national title, whatever. I mean, I would have no problem if like you get to the final two. Is there a bye week before the national title game? Or does it go right from
no?
The
I think there's a bye week next
so.
week.
There is. They play Friday the 10th. The national title game is Monday the 20th.
Okay. So there's a week.
That late?
The 9th,
I would have
the 9th
no
and the 10th
problem.
are the semis, and then the 20th is the national title game.
I personally would have no problem at some point in that 2-week stretch as kind of like, let's keep college football relevant. Let's talk about the national game, but also if you wanted to open the portal, then those two. If somebody wants to go to one of those two teams, they're just gonna have to wait.
What I would say is opening the portal in December is detrimental to NCAA as a whole. If you want to open it January 4th after Buffalo and Liberty play in the Bahamas Bowl, which is the last non-playoff bowl game that they have, like I would be okay with that, because then the 9th and 10th are the four best teams in college football.
Yeah, I was going to say get down to your last 4 or your last 2.
So if you want to launch that thing hard launch January 5th, you want to hard launch, the portal opens and you see a slew of names going, all right, we're out. Because here's the deal. Guys are going to sit out bowl games anyways because of draft reasons.
Right. Bowl games are out of the conversation, I think.
I just hate the fact that you have a team who played in a conference title game, won a conference title, their coach is leaving for a different job, and now like they're out of a bowl game altogether. The kids that are staying at Marshall that are trying to help not let that program go from 10-3 to 3-10 next year. Like they're not going to get a chance to play in a bowl game because other people decided that they wanted to try to run with the coach. Now, I don't know that there's any way that you can control that, but it's like, it kind of sucks on the grand scheme of things, but it sucks harder because you open the portal the day the guy takes the job at Southern Miss, like a day later, the portal opens. Of course, you're going to lose 20 guys.
Yeah.
If that portal isn't open, maybe they stay for the bowl game. Maybe they finish out, their time at Marshall, and then they can transfer. And if it's someone who's a serious starter that doesn't want to get themselves hurt, do what everybody else does. Sit out the bowl game.
I think the thing, because like in that scenario, you would still have the potential of your final 4 teams losing guys. So I think what probably needs to be looked at is finding a way to tighten up the schedule so that like the portal opens like the day before the national championship game and is open for like the next 10 days after, so that there's time for the teams that are in the national title game to finish their season, and then guys to finish out their season and then make those decisions.
See, but then that could also be detrimental if you're starting it while teams are still playing football games, because if there is a potential big recruit, I'm going to use Quinn Ewers as the example, just because he's a name that we've heard may go back to school. If you're one of the final 4 teams playing in the playoffs and you know that you're going to need a quarterback, looking at you, the University of Oregon, because Dylan Gabriel is probably going to declare because he's a senior. But say they don't get a chance to get him because they're focused on trying to win a national title, and Ohio State swoops in and picks him up because you didn't even get to have a conversation with him.
Well, I think that's kind of my point. It's like, but if you open it up on the 5th, right now there's games on the 10th and the 20th.
And
so like they need to find a way to get the playoff earlier, tighten the schedule somehow. I don't know what the ultimate answer is. I know Joel Klatt has a proposal of moving Army Navy to the
week 0
beginning of the year and having that be the only game in quote unquote week 0. So it gets all the attention, and then you shift everything else
up a week.
I think that's
fine.
I think that's a pretty decent proposal, because
Well, I think it's great because good or bad, Army Navy's a draw. You know what I mean? Like,
correct,
right? And it gives it still gives that game the attention.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about like do we put a team in there we thought was going to be good and then they Florida Stated on us, that kind of thing.
Right.
And you're like, man, this team might not be good. It doesn't matter if Army and Navy are good.
Well, that and then Army Navy, because a lot of the times they're traveling to different stadiums, it makes it an attraction week 0. The first college football game can be played in Dublin. It can be played in MetLife. It can be played at Jerry World. It can be played at wherever. I mean, and that's going to get a ton of people there because it's Army Navy. Like I think putting it at the front half of the year, I think putting it at the front half of the year makes more sense than probably anything that we could try to come up with in the next.
I think it improves the draw for that game by a ton.
Yeah, it kicks off the year. People are aware of it. All right, let's close the thoughts on that, and then let's go ahead and look at this upcoming weekend. It is the official start of the college football playoff, the 12-team college football playoff, and it kicks off just a few days from now. Just a reminder of what the bracket looks like. We'll bring that up on the screen as well. We will start Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time on ABC and ESPN. It is number 10 Indiana. They were 11-1 on the season. They travel to the number 7 seed Notre Dame, who was also 11-1. 7-point home favorite for the Irish. 51 is your over/under on this one. Sean, I'll start with you.
Well, I think this is probably, and not just because my team's in it, I think this is my favorite matchup of the first round. I think the in-state rivalry kind of renewed, not something we see every year. I think that's exciting. You got some bulletin board material in there, the material of which I think is just enough to make Notre Dame that much angrier. I probably would have picked them to cover 7 either way. I'm definitely going to pick them to cover 7 in this game after Indiana's coach opened his idiot mouth. And 51 sounds like a pretty fair number. I'm going to take the over. I don't think it's going to be by as much as I'd like it to be, mostly because I'm not sure Indiana's going to score as many points as people think they are. But I think it pushes just over.
Keep in mind, some snow in the forecast, likely ending before game time. But shocking, December in South Bend. Cold, windy, chance of snow.
Sounds like the perfect day to run for 280 yards.
Right. Sounds like a great day for Jeremiah Love. All right, Matt.
Yeah, I will take Notre Dame to cover. I will take the under. I think Notre Dame's defense is going to put a little bit more of a limitation, and I don't think their offense is really going to try to open the entire bag of tricks this week. So Notre Dame and the under.
All right, Mikey B.
Kurt Sinetti came out and said that Notre Dame ain't played anybody. Lost to Northern Iowa. This guy has a schedule that includes
strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
This guy has a schedule that includes FIU, Charlotte. Let's see. Purdue.
FIU, more like F I open my mouth.
Maryland.
Notre Dame also played Purdue.
Yes, we played the Purdue.
So there's that.
Purdue. And this guy's sitting here talking like they went through and beat the Oregons and the Ohio States of the world. It's a cute story. Congratulations on making it to the top 12. Here's your fruit basket as you get steamrolled in South Bend. Give me the Fighting Irish. Give me the under because I don't know that Indiana scores on this defense.
For the record, Indiana did not beat Ohio State. That is the one. That is the one in 11.
They had their one shot.
They had their chance. They scored 15 points
failed miserably.
Yeah, they had scored 30 or more points 30 or more points in 10 of their 11 wins. They scored 20 against Michigan, and they scored 15 against Ohio State. So the two good defenses that they played against, they were held to 20 or less.
Figure it out there.
There you go. EJ.
I guess I'll be that guy again, huh? By the way, first off, shout out to the big homie, Marcus Freeman, a new contract. So I'm out for was a 5-year extension, I think it was? Good job.
4-year extension.
4 years. 4 years. Yeah.
But with the 2 he still has on his original deal,
right,
he's locked up for 6 more.
Look, I don't know if they'll win the game outright, but something tells me Indiana's going to come play. So give me Indiana the points and give me the under.
All right, boys. Let's
Thanks,
chalk all
CJ.
that up as a sweep.
I'm not a smart man.
Thank
Homer, 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 Homer.
Hey, you can pick on him. He did exactly what you needed him to do.
Correct. Yeah, that's actually really good.
Thanks, Ernest.
You're welcome.
Here's the deal. I'm not nervous about this game, but I'm also super nervous about this game, and it has nothing to do with student of the game Kyle Nash.
I think that's just anxiety.
That's actually a great point. That's a great point, Sean. No, here's the thing. I don't think this game should be that close. I like Notre Dame to cover. I'm going to take the under just because of the weather. If the like the snow chamber or whatever they refer to northern Indiana as, like there's potential for the snow to linger.
The
and I
phrase
think
snow
that could,
chamber sounds both romantic and horrifying at the same time.
yeah, I think that could maybe keep the score down a little bit. So I will take the under in that one.
I will say the best bet is the under in this game based on the weather. That number is really high.
It is a high number. I think it's just because, Indiana does put up a lot of points. Notre Dame's put up a lot of points over the back half of the year. So I think that's why you saw it so high. Devin has Notre Dame in the over as well. All right, let's go then to Saturday at noon on TNT and Max. It is number 11 seed SMU. They're 11-2. They travel to number 6 Penn State, who is 11-2 as well. They are an 8.5-point home favorite. Your over-under on this one is 54. Sean.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Bob. There's a lot of there's a handful of teams in here that I don't want to say don't belong because I think at this point I've already kind of stated that like anybody who feels they belong should have just won their share of games. So stop your whining. But as far as where the teams have fallen, Alabama. I love that clip. I love that sound bit so much.
Yeah.
It's the best. But I think when you're looking at where the numbers are and who's ranked where and who fits where, this one feels to me still, and it's not just where I grew up, and it's not a team that I was raised to hate. It just doesn't feel like the team is as good as a 6. I don't know if SMU is good at 11, but I know SMU is excited to be there. I know SMU feels that they're probably the team with the most bulletin board material in the 12, in my opinion, because there's so many people that think they don't belong there because some other big name team belongs there in their place. And I think they're going to come out ready to fly because of it. And I'm going to take SMU to cover. I'm going to take them to win this game outright in Slappy Valley. And what was my over-under number?
54.
54. No, give me the under. I think it's going to be kind of back and forth, but I think Penn State's defense and I think just the fact that SMU is going to have to take some time, I'm going to keep it under.
There was some snow originally in the forecast Saturday, partly sunny, high near 28. So cold, definitely colder than SMU's playing in, but clear for Saturday's game. Matt.
Yeah, I don't really like either of these teams, but there's one that I dislike more, and that's Penn State. So the Mustangs, I will take the under with the weather being the way it is, despite the lack of snow. I haven't been super impressed by Penn State's offense. Their defense has been what's won them a lot of games. So I think they'll keep it close, but give me the Mustangs to win outright.
All right, Mikey B.
Drop the ball, not adding Mustang salad to the old soundboard. I think if Matt and I hit this one, we should probably add that to the soundboard next time.
That's fair.
All right. So a lot of people watched the ACC title game. They thought that this Mustangs offense looked pretty pedestrian against Clemson. And then the second half turned around and this team made that a football game. And that's what got them at least into the college football playoffs. And I think that's the thing that they're going to have to rely on. I've seen everybody in major media telling me that Penn State is a shoe-in for the semis. They're going to steamroll SMU. They're going to beat the guy who finished second in the Heisman Trophy and Ashton Genty. To quote the great Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend.
How do I not have that on the board? Like, I'm literally writing that down right now.
I feel like that's just a miss.
Yeah,
because at this point, I look
bad.
at it from this standpoint. Penn State hasn't done anything impressive for me. I'm not moved by anything they've done this year. I've said it all year that I felt that the preseason ranking got them the number 6 overall seed, and I will die on that hill. So give me SMU plus the points. Give me SMU to win. Give me SMU alternate spread -3. I think they roll. I think the offense clicks on all cylinders. And guess what? The only hope that Penn State had of keeping this game under was snow. And the fact that it's not there, and the fact that the fans are going to say, "Oh, but we could have had a whiteout night game." Eat a
I like
bag
that
of
voice.
shorts.
You should talk like that more.
SMU and the over.
Tribute to Kyle.
That is my Kyle.
All right, EJ.
I feel like that spread is high mainly because of the fact that they had a moral victory against Oregon, losing by 1 score.
It's because they hate SMU.
And that's false hope, man. That is some really big false hope. I don't think Penn State is 8.5 points better than anybody in this bracket whatsoever. Anyone, Clemson included. So for me, it's easy.
Wow.
SMU on the points here. SMU on the points, easy here. Will they win? Well, that later. But definitely SMU on the points, and give me the under as well.
Yeah, I'm absolutely taking SMU to cover 8.5. You know, I don't care if it's cold. The fact that it's clear, like SMU has speed that I don't think Penn State can really defend against. I think they're going to find a way to expose holes in Penn State's defense. And I will take a slight over because I think if SMU is going to win, I think that it's going to be because of their offense. I don't think it's going to be because of their defense. And really the big thing, and talking about it with the whole transfer portal issue, Drew Aller has gotten banged up at times throughout this year. If he has to be out of this game at all, Penn State's now playing a quarterback who hasn't seen the field this year. Like that's what can be kind of this unforeseen game changer with this situation of their backup quarterback electing to go into the portal. So I think this game is ripe for the take, and I do agree with Sean that SMU, just because of what everybody's saying and everybody after the decision that I agree with that the committee made to put them in over Alabama, everybody's coming to the aid of the plucky upstart, poor downtrodden Alabama Crimson Tide, and how we have to change things and rethink how we do stuff.
Please.
But so SMU really does kind of come in here with a chip on their shoulder. So I think
your hard-nosed college faithful and your historians are very aware that SMU used to be a proverbial college football powerhouse.
Absolutely.
Decades ago. But because of the being ousted for so many years and only recently kind of being reinstated and allowed back into this situation, your fresher fans and the people that think the SEC is the only thing that's ever been good in college football don't realize that this is an area of the country where college football can still be godlike, and so I think this would be a great opportunity for them to put themselves back on the map.
For sure. All right, let's move to Saturday, 4:00 Eastern time on TNT and Max. It is the number 12 seed Clemson Tigers. They were 10-3 on the regular season. They traveled to the number 5 seed Texas Longhorns, who are 11-2, 11.5 point home favorite for Texas. 51.5 is your over under, and since I've been given the forecast for all of these cold weather places. Sunny 64 in Austin on Saturday, so no weather issues in Texas. Sean.
Yeah, I mean, good job, I guess, Dabo, and good job just floating above the water that everybody else was sinking through. Way to make it, but Dabo, dab out all you're going to do this year. So let's be serious here. Texas is not only going to cover. Texas is going to crush the Clemson Tigers, in my opinion. I don't think this game's going to be close. I think this is probably the most lopsided game of the weekend, if barely edging out Notre Dame, Indiana. But this one just doesn't feel close to me.
No.
I know people think Texas hasn't played anybody either and that it's overrated. They're overrated from what we might put them at, but Clemson's nowhere close to that. So give me Texas. One's got a mediocre defense. The other's still a Big 12 team. Give me the over.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're maybe overrated to the teams, some of the teams around and above them,
right?
But not against Clemson. Matt.
No.
I actually think they are super overrated compared to a lot of teams around them. So I will take Clemson with the points. I don't think Clemson's going to win. I don't think Clemson's going to be within a touchdown, but I think they'll stay close enough that give me a 10-point Texas win for sure. But I definitely am taking the over on that one.
All right, Mikey B.
All right. I've done it all year. I guess I'm going to be the guy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not taking Clemson to win this game. But I will say that a lot of people have sat here and you know, not on this show, but just in general have.
Shame on you.
Can't fool me again. Here's the deal. Quinn Ewers has not been good.
True.
And he's not been good for weeks. Mm-hmm. Now, we have the question of how big of a leash is Quinn Ewers going to have in a playoff game? Are they going to put Arch Manning in more? Are they going to potentially bench Quinn Ewers in this game? Guess what? That's a fucking headache to deal with in the middle of the first 12-team playoff. I get it. You're at home. I get it. You feel you should have won the SEC. But you are still playing a coach who everybody on this panel despises like the plague. But you do have to give the devil his due. He finds a way to keep games close that shouldn't be close and give his team an opportunity to win them. I will take Clemson plus the points. I will take the over as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Quinn Ewers looks bad on the first couple series that this turns into the Arch Manning game. And then is Arch Manning versus Cade Klubnik? I think it's a 50-50 toss-up at that point. Texas has got to clean it up, though, if they want to make a run at this thing.
I think you're going to see packages for both early. That's what I think you're going to see. And if one's clicking and the other's not, you're going to see more of those packages later. And it may roll right into the following week.
And you're probably right, because they would have a bye if they would have put Arch Manning on the field more, because he proved that on the first snap of overtime and then did not see the field again.
Yep, very good. EJ.
So I get what Mike and Matt are doing here, because this spread opened at 14.5 actually a week ago, and it moved 3 points already. So the public is actually moving into Clemson's corner now. And Texas was that
one of us took it at 14.
Nice.
Early on? Okay, nice. There you go. And look, here's the thing. Texas has not looked good in weeks. I haven't seen a good Texas game since probably since October. So, I mean, I get it, but if there's a spot where Texas can turn things around, they're at home, the playoffs start now, time to turn on. I know Quinn has been really bad. It's now. I just don't think Clemson's that good. It's more about Clemson not being that good and Texas being much better than they are. So give me Texas here. Honestly, it's going to be a rout, and give me the under.
Yeah, they haven't been really dominant in a win since, I guess it would have been the end of October.
When against Florida?
49-17. But even around that, Vanderbilt 3 points, Arkansas 10 points.
There you go. Yeah.
It's been a struggle at times for Texas.
They're due one.
Man, I think the home crowd is going to help them here. I don't. If there's anything I've learned post like Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, Clemson does not travel well.
You forgot DJU.
So I think, like, if this is a neutral field, I'd be more apt to take Clemson to cover. I just, regardless of how sketchy at times Texas has looked, I think Clemson is just worse.
That place is going to be nuts.
And it's just going to be a hostile environment, and I just don't think they're going to manage it well. I don't think Texas wins by a lot more than 11.5, but I think they do cover. I'm definitely taking the over. That's one of the easiest plays of the weekend, really, is the over in that game. But yeah, I think Texas wins pretty convincingly. What it means beyond that, I don't know, because if they win, they play Arizona State, which we're going to have a similar conversation next week. I really think so. But in this one, it's Texas.
Can we figure out if Steve Sarkisian has turned off the call to play for me on his NCAA football 25? Because if he runs 4 verts on 3 straight plays from the 20 again, like he did in overtime against Georgia, I don't know how that guy still has a job.
That was one of the ideas, but it wasn't a very good one.
Yeah, for sure. All right, and then so Devin had Penn State in the under in the last one. I missed that. He has Clemson in the over. So there you go. He's right there with Matt and Mike. And then last one, and maybe one of the more interesting ones storyline wise. Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, ABC and ESPN. Number 9 Tennessee at 10-2. They travel to number 8 Ohio State, also at 10-2. A 7.5 point home favorite in Columbus. 47 is your over under. And Saturday night in Columbus, mostly cloudy, low around 17. So it's going to be cold. It's going to be cold for sure.
That's real cold.
So yeah, your game time temp's probably going to be in the 20s, probably a little breezy. So that might impact Tennessee a bit, but we'll find out. Sean, what do you say?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I like Notre Dame, Indiana as like the storyline and like the fun sell. I think from a football versus football standpoint, this is my favorite matchup of the first round. I can't believe I'm going to say what I'm about to say, but EJ made a really good point. I can't.
How would you confess that, buddy? Wow.
Well, you did. And I was going to bring it up in this game. You brought it up in the last one. I think there's something to be said for the fact that we've reached the first finish line, right? So we're at a point where like anything that's gone wrong, any starter versus backup scenario you're in, any early stumbles, like you made it here, right? So this is your new week 1, your new week 0, and I think that there's an opportunity for some of these teams, particularly at like maybe an 8 or a 9 seed, to go, you know what? Turn on the Jets, and so I think both teams are going to try to do that, and it's gonna be pretty exciting. I think Tennessee's a fun play and a fun pick, and that spread's pretty high. But like you said, it's going to be cold. I think Ohio State with that reset button and a home crowd in Columbus, and an opportunity to go fix the not winning the Big Ten and get a chance to attack Oregon. I think Ohio State's gonna cover that spread. I'm gonna take the over. I don't think it's gonna be a super high scoring game, but that is a low over under for me. Give me the over. Give me Ohio State. Go Buckeyes, I guess.
Matt,
I know.
Well, Hair Paint's getting fired at some point this offseason, so let's just rip off the Band-Aid. Let's go with Tennessee. I mean, I love how we're saying it's cold and we act like Tennessee is in the tropics. Like,
Thank you.
It gets pretty cold in Tennessee.
Exactly.
Oh, no, it does. I wasn't saying that about Tennessee. I just think that Tennessee's not going to cover, and it's going to be cold.
Okay.
Not because of it.
Yeah, I'll take the Vols on this one just because I'm not going to pick Ohio State. I want to see all the Ohio State fans I know sad, and I want to have it before Christmas so that just lingers on into the holiday season.
Just completely ruined Christmas.
Some of them might be happy if they fire right.
Santa, don't ask for much, but give me this.
I prayed for this and it happened. Mikey B.
Matt, are you taking the over or the under?
Oh, it's going to be cold. Give me the under.
All right. So I pulled up the lyrics to a certain song, and Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Tennessee. They're going to take the top right off this motherfucker. And by the top, I mean the spray painted hair of Ryan Day that gets left in the middle of the field and planted like a flag, like the Michigan.
Can we name it Old Cocky Top instead of Old Rocky Top?
Yes, we can. Because at the end of the day, I will take the Tennessee Volunteers plus the points. I will take the Tennessee Volunteers money line to win this football game. Because the fact of the matter is this, and I'm going to give a special shout out to a man who's not here right now. Student of the game, Kyle Nash. Tennessee plays in the SEC. They've played a harder schedule than Ohio State could dream of, even though Ohio State only lost by 1 score to the number 1 team in the nation. that is what will push Tennessee over the edge. And former UCF coach Josh Heupel gets to the quarterfinals.
There we go. EJ.
Now look at all these 4 games. I think, look at the teams at home. I think you'll have Notre Dame crowd be excited. Penn State crowd be excited. Texas crowd be excited. The Ohio State crowd is going to be fucking tense. Think about it. 2 weeks ago, last time they were here, lost to Michigan.
Sure did.
And against the Michigan team they should have lost to. Okay?
Sure was.
So you got now Ryan Day, who's right now coaching for his fucking job week to week. All right? That's going to be one tense motherfucker this Saturday. So look, I'm not balls to pick Tennessee to win this game, but definitely because of the tense nature of it, Tennessee in the points definitely. They might win. I'm not balls to pick it yet though, but Tennessee in the points definitely. But give me the over in this one.
Imagine that EJ can't pull the trigger on a committal pick.
You coward.
I said I don't have the guts to do it, guys. But if I did, I would do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine what that crowd in Columbus is going to do if
God.
Tennessee takes the ball, goes down and scores a touchdown, and Ohio State goes 3 and out?
Ohio State has the most pressure to perform early. Like
Absolutely.
they have to have a hot start if they want
Without
that home
question.
crowd to be an advantage.
If they stumble out of the gate, that crowd's going to turn quick.
Yes.
Turn real quick.
Probably turn to the exits. It's cold as shit.
Probably. They're like, fuck this guy. He's going to get
Can't
fired
wait.
anyway. I'm not going to freeze my ass off. Look, unlike EJ, I'm not a coward. Tennessee is not only going to cover 7.5, they're going to win this game. The only question coming out of this is, does Ohio State fire Ryan Day on the field because they can't do it on the tarmac, or do they wait until Sunday?
No, they'll do it Sunday. They'll do it Sunday.
Yeah, I know, EJ.
They'll tell him on the field, and then he'll have to go do an interview.
But
hey, by the way, clear out your office.
No, they'll just have a box.
Painting
They'll have a box outside of his office. He's not even.
They're just going to tell me we're painting your office tomorrow, so go ahead and clean that out, will you?
Yeah.
I will take the under in this one. I think the cold will impact the scoring. And again, if you're going to beat Ohio State, you're going to limit their offense. And Michigan gave you the easy playbook on how to beat them. So that'll get the job done there. The only other question, and I mean, we know who's under the most pressure going into this weekend, and it's Ohio State. But I've seen, and I'm not sure that I necessarily understand the logic behind it. I've seen and heard a couple of people in sports media this week talk about, now that he got the extension, Marcus Freeman's under a lot of pressure this weekend to win at Notre Dame. So Ryan Day most pressure, but behind Ryan Day, the only other names that I think would be under any pressure would be James Franklin and the sports media narrative Marcus Freeman. Like Franklin's under more pressure than Marcus Freeman, right?
I think some of that Freeman extension was for his benefit to take some of the personal pressure off. Like to say, hey, we're committing to you, and it's one of those like, look, just go in and coach football game. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and I think part of it too is one of the things that I was worried about. He played at Ohio State, so like part of my fear there is if Ohio State gets rid of him, are they gonna bid high enough that Marcus Freeman leaves? There was actually some chatter of the Chicago Bears reaching out to Marcus Freeman. So I think Notre Dame getting the deal done when they did is just to let's put all this.
There's going to be a lot of appealing jobs.
Yeah, like let's put all this away.
Yeah,
let's commit to each other. Notre Dame's AD said today in a press conference that he and Marcus Freeman are both obsessed with winning a national championship there. So
I think there's some pressure only because of the opponent they're playing. But other than that, though, in comparison to James Franklin and certainly Ryan Day, not even a conversation.
Yeah, Franklin's definitely.
Yeah,
I don't even know that I have Marcus Freeman in the top 5 of most pressure of the week, of the first week. I mean, I look at it. You obviously mentioned Ryan Day. You obviously mentioned James Franklin. Let's not forget Kurt Singetti, who's now come out and basically called out the team that he's playing. I think there's pressure on him to prove that this Indiana team is as good as he said it was, because we've all talked about how much their schedule was a joke. I think Steve Sarkisian, with as bad of a job as he did in overtime against Georgia, had the SEC title game in his hands. Handed it to the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, if they lose to Dabo, that's now 2 games where you're going to look at it and go, head coaching kind of fucked us. That's something you're gonna have to take into account. And honestly, I think at that point, I think that's something you got to think about. And then Dabo is, as much as he's locked into the Clemson culture, fans will start turning on him if he finds a way to win the ACC and then shits himself against Texas. I think that's something that fandom will be upset with him. Is his job on the line? No, but I do think that there is pressure for Dabo, as good as he's been, with as bad as this team has been this year, to find a way to beat a team who's giving away games.
If he gets blown out, yes, he can lose.
Sure, if they get the doors blown off of them by Sarkisian, and then yes, I think there's more pressure. But what I'm saying is I think Marcus Freeman. I think the way that, and I'm not the Notre Dame fan here, and you guys can correct me on that. I don't necessarily know that a lot of people looked at this season as it was national title game or bust for Marcus Freeman. I think they said a playoff appearance is great. A playoff win in the first round is fantastic. And anything more than that is a step in the right direction for the Marcus Freeman led Fighting Irish. So if it's a close loss, if it's a 3-point loss to Indiana or something like that, are you going to be frustrated? Because there's probably going to be things that you left points on the field. You probably had a turnover, XYZ. Sure. But I don't necessarily know that it's the same as the pressure that Franklin and Day and even Sarkisian to a point is dealing with right now.
I don't even think pressure is the word, though, but I do think, if you lose to Indiana at home, that'd be a massive disappointment, I think, coming to that.
It'd be disappointing. I mean, I don't think there's anything, if there's any way to dance around it. Would be disappointing.
Let's say you're playing Tennessee instead of Indiana and lose Tennessee. That'd be a little more acceptable. But to Indiana, a team you probably should be beaten, based on this year.
It all depends on how things transpire on the field. If you're disappointed because Singeti comes out and schemes up an offense that puts up 45 and you lose 45-20, yeah, you're gonna be disappointed. Yeah. If it's a 10-7 game and you turn the ball over late and they kick a field goal to win it, you're going to look up and go, we had our opportunities. It's frustrating, but we're on to 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, looking at Cignetti has given Indiana not only their first 10-win season ever, it's only their second winning season in a full-length regular season since 2007. I really don't think there's much pressure there. I mean, him kind of talking big in the media, that's what he does. I don't think there's much really that much for Sark as well. I mean, you look at Texas, they were less than 500 when he got there. Not only does he win the conference, the Big 12 a year ago, he gets to the conference title game in the SEC. Like, are people going to go, man, you kind of coach yourself out of some wins? Sure. But when I'm talking about like pressure, like coaches actually under pressure this weekend, to me it's Day and Franklin, and that's it.
No, I definitely think that's true. But what I'm saying is Indiana fans will come out and say, this is the best team we've ever put on the field. This was our shot to make a run in the playoffs, because people are going to leave, people are going to graduate. We have to go back to being a 500 team probably while this guy rebuilds again. And with Sark, it's more, you blew the Quinn Ewers experience, because now there are going to be Texas fans that don't think Arch Manning is going to be as good or better than Quinn Ewers at quarterback. So there will be Texas fans, if they lose in the first round, that'll be like, well, it'll be 2 or 3 years before we make it back here. So now we have to endure this. I think
some of the Indiana pressure is also just, we talked about the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you're going to have to reload and retool and do everything else. When are you going to see this path again? You're going to have other seasons where it's going to be Penn State. It's going to be Ohio State. It's going to be a better Michigan.
Yeah.
You're going to have stumbling blocks in your way. Like, Indiana hasn't seen an opportunity to be here. So that would really, for me, be the only, beyond the bulletin board material, the only true pressure for them is like, time is of the essence here. That would be your pressure.
Indiana's 2025 schedule: Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State, Illinois, Iowa, at Oregon, Michigan State, UCLA, Maryland, Penn State, Wisconsin, Purdue.
Just two tough.
So they fade.
So we're telling me Indiana's going to be in the playoff next year.
So the answer to my schedule question is next year.
So, right. Yep, Cignetti has no pressure. Fuck it.
Yeah,
I take that back. That's on me. That's on me. That's on me, guys.
If they split, at least the Penn State, Ohio State, games that they're in, no matter what.
Well, no, I mean if they split Oregon, you mean Oregon, Penn
State.
Oregon,
Oregon, right? Oregon.
All right, yeah. All right, let's before we get into the NFL pick'ems for the week, let's take a look at where we stand in terms of the NFL playoff picture. Currently, we'll start in the NFC. Detroit sitting on top for the time being. You would have the Eagles and the Commanders in the 2-7 matchup, Tampa Bay, Green Bay in the 3-6 matchup, and the Rams and Vikings in the 4-5 matchup. Do you guys see this picture, the teams changing by the time we get to the end of the year? Seattle sitting outside at 8-6, Atlanta, Arizona at 7-7. Dallas teams not officially eliminated. San Francisco, Dallas, New Orleans have not been mathematically eliminated. That's
unbelievable. Dallas took an opportunity for a top draft pick and is still currently not eliminated.
That's why McCarthy sucks.
Unbelievable.
No, it's just this.
Good news, James, is they're playing just well enough in Dallas for Jerry Jones to not spend any money in the offseason.
Nope.
So,
like he was going to anyhow. What do you mean?
Well, he doesn't have any left, so it's fine.
Jim, I'm gonna be honest with you. The picture you see here on both sides here, I know we'll do the AFC next, but the picture on both sides, in my opinion, this is it.
All right, so
I'll be the counter.
Changing. Mike,
yeah, you do it.
I'll be the counter here because you don't know what you're getting out of Michael Penix in the NFC South. I think that's wide open. I think that the NFC West is nothing but figured out. I mean, one week Sean McVay looks like a genius. The next week they look like they can't run an offensive play to save their life. Seattle and Arizona both sitting within striking distance with 3 weeks left. I look at it
are too in the West.
I mean, that one might be more
dream, but
they're say run the table and everybody else loses out somehow. And I think that's the way that the Niners get in, kind of the same way with Cincinnati. I'll stay on the NFC side, then I'll go to the AFC side. At this point, I truly believe that Atlanta can still win that division. I still think that the Seahawks or the Cardinals can still win the NFC West. I actually think that Seattle finds a way to get in over the Rams. I don't necessarily think that the Rams have figured out pieces of it, but when Seattle's defense can actually stay on the field and be healthy and do what they did against Arizona 2 out of the last 3 weeks and, not have short fields to work against. And I understand Seattle has a big issue. It's the health of Geno Smith and is it Sam Howell at quarterback, but maybe that's something that will help change things. And maybe the offense becomes a little less stagnant in Seattle. Maybe it's Howell with a full week of practice. And that's why I'm saying I'm not locking in these 7 teams. I'm obviously not going to lock in the seeding either, because I do believe that the Philadelphia Eagles will end up with the 1 seed because of the injuries to the Detroit Lions. That being said, I think that the NFC definitely has potential for movement and a lot of it personally.
Here's why I'm confident about Tampa's chances to lock up the South, even though anything can happen. The last 3 games at Dallas, then home games to Carolina and New Orleans.
Yeah,
and they're playing well, and they're playing well on top of that too. Also,
yeah, I think Baker's playing at a high level, and Mikey, I'm with you. With Penix, obviously there's a little bit of a wild card there, and with only with the tiebreaker, I think that there's obviously a chance Atlanta catches them. All they got to do is get one back. So Tampa has a stumbling block game. Maybe that happens. Tampa just steamrolled their stumbling block game. I think that's the least. Like for me, I'm with you on Seattle, but I'm against you on the Rams. I think the Rams, McVay at times it's looked bad off and on, but when the offense looks bad, the defense looks great, and they keep them in the games. And I think on both sides of the ball, the Rams are finally healthy, and when push comes to shove in must-win games, I think McVay plans very well. I think the Rams are going to hold off the West. And even if they don't, I think Seattle could get in, but I think it's because those 2 West teams might eliminate the Commanders. I think the Commanders are in a semi-dangerous spot.
They are
because they are only one game up on
Correct.
Seattle currently, and their remaining schedule is
you guys this week.
the Eagles for one, and then they get those dangerous Penix Falcons. So that could be a thing. And then you get the end of the year rivalry game against the Cowboys team that refuses to just settle into the muck. So
a team who beat them a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So the Commanders have a very tough road to hold that 7 spot, and I think that might be the ticket in for Seattle. And if not, it would become the ticket in for the Rams. So I think there's a lot of fluidity there. And on the AFC side, let's
stick to the end. Let's finish out the
NFC. Okay,
yeah, let's stick out the,
all right, cool.
Matt, any thoughts on the NFC field?
I think the wild card teams remain. I don't see the Commanders stumbling too much. I think that Penix probably gives the Falcons a better chance to win, but I still don't think that's a good chance. So I think the wild card teams are what they are, but I think that we could see a big shakeup in the 3 and the 4 spot for sure.
Yeah, I think for me, I do think that these are probably going to be the 7. The only one that I think probably really would change would be the NFC West winner. If the Rams stumble, because that division has just been very chaotic. Like teams at times have looked really good, teams at times have looked really bad. A couple weeks ago, the Cardinals looked like they were really figuring things out, and then EJ opened his mouth about them. And we see what's happened since then. So, Seattle could take it. Again, depending on the health of Geno Smith, no confidence in Sam Howell to lead them to anything. But then, the Cardinals are still there. Those teams play each other. These NFC West teams play each other. So, I think the really big thing, and this is the last thought on the NFC, is and Mike touched on it. The Detroit Lions, I mean, they were my pick last year, they were my pick this year, but just the mounting number of injuries, I don't see how they're going to hold that 1 seed. Obviously, they're a playoff team; they've already locked that in. The scary thing is they may not even end up as the NFC North champion.
Nope.
Which didn't even seem feasible a couple weeks ago when Minnesota was kind of stumbling a little bit. And Detroit's rattling off 50-point wins, and now all of a sudden, we talked about two road games, and then you host the Vikings week 17, or week 18. So there's part of me that thinks that the Vikings may end up as the NFC North champion, which just did not even seem feasible to start at the start of the year. They have Seattle, Green Bay, and then they're at Detroit. So any thoughts on what happens with the 1 seed or with the Lions or anything?
Well, I mean, obviously injuries are a major concern, obviously, but I don't know if you saw Dan Campbell's press I don't know, it was a press conference or interview he did. It was
I don't know, what were the vibes, EJ?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
How are the optics on that interview there, bud?
No, it's positive. He kept it positive, man. It is what it is.
I mean, Dan Campbell's a hell of a leader.
He really is.
I will put it in stone right now. Whether it's the Eagles or the Vikings, the Detroit Lions will not be the number 1 seed in the NFC. I just don't see it. I think the injuries are too much. I think the defense is a risk, and I think they're much like I feel with the Commanders. I think that their path to hold that off is a little tough, and I don't see them winning out, and I think that's going to cost them. I will recant a bit on my Seattle catching Washington. I just checked; they didn't play each other. Conference record: Seattle has 5 NFC losses. Of their 5 of their 6 are in the NFC, so that's
their path to the playoffs is the
Washington
NFC
only has 3. So you would have to gain 2 in the next 3 games. Now, Washington has 1 against Philly, and like we said, the other 2 games aren't gimmies. So if that would happen and you won out, you could pull that off. But it makes my point there a little bit tougher.
So the Lions' closing statement here: at Chicago, at San Francisco, and then of course the big showdown against Minnesota, week 18. And those 2 other games before Minnesota. Look, San Francisco, rough year, we get it. but that's not a gimme. San Fran's still they're gonna fight.
No,
they're gonna
and
fight.
that's just it. Detroit's not just holding off Philly for the 1; they're holding off Minnesota for the
division.
So I mean, they could their path with if everything goes completely wrong could wind up as a 5 or a 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, they could go from like the proverbial favorite to do everything and host all these playoff games to traveling everywhere. It could be a real.
That
real
said,
trail
though,
here.
Sean. But that said,
I don't think that's going to happen. But
right. That said, though, Minnesota's closing statement also is tough. They go to Seattle, play Green Bay at home, and then Detroit, of course.
Minnesota's.
You pay attention when I talk.
I missed that. Sorry.
I think there's
literally
a realistic
closed out all of these teams' schedule.
Yeah,
I think there's a realistic world where Detroit versus Minnesota gets flexed into the Sunday night game, and that's for the division.
It is.
I mean, I think if they both go 2-0, and that is for the division, I think it gets flexed into the Sunday night game, Week 18.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was there already. I'm sorry.
No. I'm just saying. I'm saying. I think they flex that if it's for the division. But what I will say is, I don't know that Minnesota is going to be able to do their job to get there. As much as the injuries are the issue that Detroit has on the defensive side of the football, and I know that David Montgomery going down does not help the offensive side of the football, they still find a way to scheme up things that work. I'm not as scared of the San Francisco 49ers, a team that I just watched put up a total of 6 points against the Los Angeles Rams. At the end of the day, I think Detroit will probably be the 1 or the 2. I think the only team that I think can catch them is Philadelphia. I still think they will have home games leading into the NFC title game. But I do believe that the window for Detroit, like, they've got to find a way to beat Chicago this week and then control what they do from there when it comes to the San Francisco game, because at the end of the day, they're going to have to win that game by running the football. Like, they're going to have to grind that game out, exactly what the Rams did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they
all right, let's look over on the AFC side. Chiefs 1 seed. Your current 2-7 matchup is Bills Chargers. 3-6 is Steelers Broncos, and 4-5 is Texans and Ravens. In terms of the field of 7. Do we see anything changing? You have the Colts. So the Chargers are 8-6. Colts, Dolphins, Bengals 6-8. Those are the only teams mathematically still available. Do you see the field of 7 changing in the AFC?
I don't. In terms of teams, right? They're in there.
Right. The field of 7.
Yeah, that's not changing at all.
Mike, any?
I want to say yes, but
besides wanting the Bengals, do you?
I live in a world where the chance of Cincinnati making the playoffs really shot themselves in the foot. The loss against Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago. I've said that on this show. At the end of the day, if there's a team that's going to sneak in, I think it would be Cincinnati. I don't think Miami or the Colts have a fighting chance the rest of the way, especially because Cincinnati has games against Denver and Pittsburgh, 2 playoff teams. So, again, I said that a couple weeks ago whenever they had games against the Chargers, the Steelers twice, and the Broncos. And I said they control their own destiny, and they lost a couple games that they needed to win. So, yeah, I'm probably going to say that the 7 remain the same.
All right, Matt, field of 7. Any changes?
No, not in my opinion.
Sean?
No, I was trying to see if any of the Bengals, Colts, Dolphins had like a really good AFC record or something that like maybe that 2 games is easier to make up, and they don't.
No,
they've been swept in their own divisions by teams. They've been it's it's a train wreck for them. So yeah, no, minus some seeds changing. This is your 7 in the AFC.
Yeah, Devin says Dolphins are already eliminated. In my opinion, yes. I mean, realistically, yes. Mathematically, they're not. Devin, that's the only reason I pointed that out. So now in terms of where the chips fall, of course, the Chiefs at 13-1, Bills at 11-3, really the only real challenger for a potential 1 seed, with the question mark about the health of Patrick Mahomes. They have the Texans on Saturday, and then they're at the Steelers and at the Broncos. But I believe with a win this week, the Chiefs would lock up the 1 seed. But seeding wise, do we see anything really shifting?
Like the one thing Buffalo has going for it is their schedule. It's going to take a couple stumble, but I mean, to be honest, the Chiefs are so good. Speaking for Kyle Nash, ding. I think
that was good.
I think when you look at that defense and Jones and what they've been doing, like if Mahomes couldn't play this week, do I think that Carson Wentz is a talented enough backup that without a lot of film on him recently could just go in and I thought that there was a realm where Carson Wentz steps in and beats the Texans by more than the Chiefs have been beating teams because you don't know what he looks like in that offense. But their schedule obviously much harder. Bills with the Patriots, Jets, Patriots. I mean, that's like. But I don't think the Chiefs are going to stumble. I think they hold. But that schedule
was easy.
Real nice. That was real nice.
Well,
what
Jim,
a way to end.
Jim, you said that Mahomes
just
is
sit Josh
playing,
Allen.
right?
Just sit Josh Allen. You'll be fine.
I mean, he was marked as healthy. He was a full participant.
Well, I think that's
apparently
why
God healed his high ankle sprain.
Right. But this is why he wants to play. They win this week against Houston, which is obviously a beatable team. Obviously, they clinched the 1 seed. He has 3 weeks to rest.
Well, I mean, he's not just going to sit out 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, the resting ankle.
Just sit the rest of the year. Just sorry, guys.
I mean, I don't think he sits out the rest of the season.
Of course, let's be honest. Anybody with Patrick Mahomes probably isn't in the semifinals.
I still don't think they clinch either, right? Like Bills could ultimately win out.
Yeah, actually,
the Chiefs could lose those last 2.
That's what I'm saying. There's no clinching scenario
that's right.
unless it's a win and a Buffalo loss. Like Buffalo has to lose this week.
That's bad on my
The
mind.
Patriots have been real good. So
really good at what? Losing football games?
Wait.
Yes,
Sean,
yes, I wasn't clear.
Sean, are you saying they're frisky?
No.
Oh, God, no. Jesus,
Nobody's
EJ.
fucking saying that.
Sean, relax, Sean.
This show was going places.
And then
you showed up.
And he popped up and said hello.
So I mean, really, like when I'm looking at the field here, I think the only real movement I could potentially see now that granted the Ravens Steelers, like they
could flip flop. They
could trade a spot. And then
what about Chargers Denver? Is that like?
Well, yeah, they're within a game. So Baltimore's 9-5, Denver's 9-5, Chargers are 8-6. They play this week. Steelers Ravens play this week. So I think you're going to see movement potentially in the wild card spots. But yeah,
like 3, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. I think
Four's
that's
locked in. By the way,
4's locked in. 1 and 2 mostly locked in. They're penciled in. We'll call it.
I mean, I will go out and tell you that the Baltimore Ravens will end up as the 3 and win the North.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Denver Broncos end up as the 5. I think Pittsburgh ends up as the 6, and I think the Chargers are the 7. Because I think Denver beats the Chargers on Thursday night, putting the Chargers basically almost locked into that spot.
Yeah, that would pretty much do it.
So I think that's where I have Denver winning this week. So I have Denver kind of putting themselves in a predicament with a win and then a loss by the Steelers. The Steelers go to 10-4. The Broncos will be 10, or they'll both be 10-5. Denver kind of owns the tiebreaker in that regard, or not, excuse me, Pittsburgh owns the tiebreaker because of conference record, but Denver then plays a Cincinnati team that if they're eliminated from playoff contention, is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase actually going to be out on the field? A Chiefs team that has the number 1 seed in week 18 is Mahomes and those guys really going to be out on the field? Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where Denver potentially has a run here where if they can win the first one and Baltimore beat Pittsburgh, that I think that they almost have a doorway to be the 5.
So here's the remaining schedules for Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Denver. We have Pittsburgh goes to Baltimore, then home against the Chiefs and the Bengals. The Ravens obviously host the Steelers, then they go to the Texans and then host the Browns. The Broncos go to the Chargers, to the Bengals, and then host the Chiefs. But again, what will the Chiefs be at that point?
Exactly.
At the end of the year. So yeah, there's definite potential movement with 3, 5, 6, 7, a little less. The Chargers are pretty much in a yes. This is when the words actually matter. EJ must win this week against the Denver Broncos.
I'm worried about Washington on the NFC side. Honestly, I really am. Looking at
We already
schedule.
talked about that.
No, I understand that, but I'm that's the one team of the 14. I'm like I think it's going to hold ultimately, but if it's one team, I'm
Get your mouth shut.
I'm willing. It's Washington.
He obviously doesn't listen to anything I say either.
Right,
That's literally what my whole point was: is that Washington is in danger. That was my whole
is
point.
it just like the tone of our voices that you? Just,
I don't know. Maybe he just confuses us.
Maybe easily confused.
And he just thinks we cancel. Maybe we cancel each other out.
Maybe
probably
noise canceling nieces. That's what we are.
Easily confused.
Easily.
God damn. All right. Let's go to the games. Let's go to the games this week. We will start Thursday night on Prime Video, 8:15 Eastern Time. It is the 9-5 Denver Broncos. They travel to the 8-6 Los Angeles Chargers. Well,
yeah, I stumble over it every time.
Like the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles. They're a 3-point home favorite. 42 is your over/under. EJ, I'll start with you.
The Chargers need a get right game. I thought the Broncos were fucked with the bad Bo Nix game on Sunday. Three picks, but you know what? Short week. You know what? Stay away from this game betting wise, but give me the Chargers. Give me the under.
All right, Mikey B.
Chaos.
I mean, I said it when we talked who was going to be the seeds. I just said I had Denver winning this week. I'm going to obviously take that here. I believe in Bo. I believe in Sean Payton. I believe in the health of the Denver Broncos. And as a member of the Student of the Game report, the end of the season, end of the year awards ding, Nick Bodino putting himself in conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. That being said, I will take the Denver Broncos. I will take a slight over.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I'll take the Broncos on this. We all know it takes like 8 years for Harbaugh to actually win games when it matters. So not going to be the one to happen this time through. Broncos, give me the under.
So goddamn rude.
Sean.
Yeah. The Chargers, formerly known as San Diego, they're making a play here, but the worst thing that could possibly happen for them is that EJ said they need a get right game. So I don't know.
Not wrong.
You're welcome, Sean.
Get right game. Everybody made fun of you for that with the Lions. You had to throw that out here again. You're lucky Kyle's not.
Well, it worked, though. We beat Green Bay.
Okay, you're the reason why that happened. We'll give you that. Fine. Either way, you're wrong on this pick. The Denver Broncos are going to just roll right through them. I'm with you on I believe in Bo. I'm all for Mike. I'm all for Bo being successful enough to somehow get like a collab commercial with Bo Jackson. Talk about Bo Knows. A Bo Knows back and forth with Bo Jackson would make my day.
I mean,
but yeah, give me the Broncos. Give me the EJ. What'd you take, over or under?
You took the under.
Under. Take the over.
All right, then I'll take the over.
There you go. Thank you.
I will take the under, but in this house we pick Jim Harbaugh, so give me the Chargers and the win. All right, then we go to Sunday 1:00 Eastern time. Saturday 1:00 Eastern time on NBC. It is the 9-5 Houston Texans, a 2-point road favorite. Now you probably want to check on this before you make your final play because this probably is going to move.
It's already swung
if Mahomes is back, but so we're gonna go with -2 for the Texans, and your over under is 40 on this one. EJ,
even without Pat Mahomes, I don't trust the Texans at all. I think Carson Wentz can do the job. Give me the Chiefs anyway here, and give me the over.
Homer.
Mikey B.
This game is already swung. It is now Chiefs -2.5.
Wow.
So this thing is already swung. I think it's going to swing 3 or 4 more times because I think you'll hear conflicting reports from Las Vegas. I'm sorry, Kansas City that says that Patrick Mahomes either was a partial participant in practice or, Taylor Swift needed Travis Kelce to come out
I don't know why that hit again, but
record a song.
He's still,
I look at it from this standpoint. As much as I want to take the Houston Texans here because of my hatred for Patrick LeVon Mahomes II, as people say, it's not hatred.
Allegedly.
It's because Chris Jones, I think, is also a guy who's in the running for the Defensive Player of the Year, that I will take the Kansas City Chiefs, and I will take the under because CJ Stroud just hasn't looked good facing pressure, and that's kind of what Kansas City's been able to do is get pressure. So we'll go with the Chiefs and the under.
All right, Matt.
I'm going to go under the assumption that Wentz will play, and I don't know why this panel seems to have amnesia of who Carson Wentz is. Like, why are we assuming he's going to play better than Mahomes?
Who's his coach?
I don't. I don't.
Who's his coach?
Matt, I'm not gonna be as dumb as Ernest.
Thank you.
I'm going to say I think Carson Wentz will not be better and not be able to be the one that quote beat the Texans. I think the defense will be able to turn the ball over.
Don't worry, I'm going to make it
for
you.
For someone
shorter fields.
Or make it yourself.
For someone who's a Eagles fan, Matt, disappoint me on Andy Reid. Come on now. Trust Andy Reid, man. What's wrong with you?
He does trust Andy Reid. He doesn't trust Carson Wentz. There's a reason why he got benched for Big Dick.
You're not listening to Matt either? Like, what? Are your headphones broken?
No, Matt. Definitely not Matt.
Are your headphones broken?
You know what? I fucked up. I should have got him headphones, not fucking. That's on me, guys.
DJ just runs his mic right into the headphone. Like it's all he hears.
The Wi-Fi's all fucked up here in the van. I apologize.
Now, especially since the Texans are getting points, I would bet on that now because when Wentz plays and when Wentz plays to the level that we know he can or cannot, the Texans would ultimately prevail in that one. The refs aren't going to help Carson Wentz, guys.
Right, exactly.
Not wrong.
That's a good point.
I will take the over on that one.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, you guys, we can't see Christmas lights in EJ's vans, but he sure as hell can. Anyway, he's huffing fumes. Anyway, EJ, did you remember to turn the van off before you got in? You can't be breathing in.
No.
And if you don't,
are you in a garage?
Did you remember to leave a note?
Yeah, are you in a garage? He's falling asleep down there. Here's my deal. I will say this. It's not a great point by EJ because he made it very poorly. But I do believe in Andy Reid, and if it happens to be Carson Wentz, Andy Reid's not stupid either. Like he's gonna draw up a game plan that minimizes the effect of Carson Wentz, and it's gonna be a very defensive game. Because of the risk, I'm gonna take the under. But I think if Mahomes plays, there's a chance it goes over. But I don't know how much of this is smoke and mirrors. But either way, I'm gonna take the fact that we're picking the Chiefs with points. I refuse. Not to mention the fact that what no one's mentioned yet is the Chiefs actually have more to play for in this game to hold off a slightly distant but potentially threat Buffalo Bills. The Texans are they're in.
Right, they're just locked.
Like the only thing they have to play for is to not look as terrible as they have. That's really it.
Right.
And your offensive line still stinks, so I don't really think that's going to change. But yeah, give me the Chiefs, give me the under. I trust Andy Reid more than I trust anything going on in Houston right now.
Yeah, I don't care if it's -2 for the Texans, +2 for -2 for the Chiefs. I don't care. The Texans have not been good this year. It's in KC. They're going to find a way to win. I think I don't know what the weather is. Probably cold. So
would you say it's frightful?
Probably if you're the Texans fan. But yeah, give me the Chiefs. Especially with where the line we have it set at, and I will take a slight over. Devin has the Texans in the over in that one.
Devin took the Texans. Wow.
All right, let's go to Saturday 4:30 Eastern time on Fox. It is the 10-4 Pittsburgh Steelers. They travel to the 9-5 Baltimore Ravens, who are a 6-point home favorite. Your over under is 45. EJ.
Yeah, unlike the last game, I think Baltimore comes back with a vengeance. They win this game. The over-under is 45. Wow, that's a good number.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Wow.
I knew he was going to say
like, seriously,
I'm fucking with you today, bro. Relax, bro. Try to entertain you guys. Kyle's not here tonight, man. I got to entertain you guys.
Oh, God. Old eggnog Jaworski up there.
I know. I got the shirt sitting right there, buddy. Give me Give me a slight under. Slight under.
All right. Mikey B.
All right, here's the deal. I hate both of these teams. If they could both lose, I would root for that. George Pickens probably isn't going to play in this game still with a hamstring injury.
Again, yeah, unreal.
Justin Fields has an abdomen injury. Wasn't in the walkthrough today. He's been playing the gadget role for them. That's another piece of the offense that could be missing. And let's not forget the ankle injury to their best player. Yes, I said their best player in TJ Watt. That being said, Lamar Jackson probably goes on a tear like he did against a team from New York this past week, where he basically just wait, hold on.
Fucking thing.
He threw another touchdown.
So embarrassing.
Ravens over, because I think that without TJ Watt being able to keep up with Lamar Demetrius Jackson, as the Funko is being currently displayed, I think that's the key.
Poorly.
Yeah, that's a hell of a shadow, but glares everywhere. Yeah, give me the Ravens, and I will take it over because of the defensive problems that Pittsburgh will now have without TJ Watt.
Yeah.
All right, Matt.
I would typically agree with all of that, but for some reason, Lamar Jackson forgets how to play football when he plays the Steelers, no matter who's on the field, honestly. So even though I think the Ravens will ultimately win, I would take Pittsburgh with the points because I think it'll be a close game, a field goal win. Maybe Justin Tucker finally remembers how to kick the ball through the uprights and not around them. Maybe. But yeah, give me the Steelers with the points. Give me the under on this.
All right, Sean.
I can't believe in the comments I'm being called the bald dude. I'm only the bald dude because I'm the one not wearing a hat. All right, anyway, yeah, it looked like I eat lunch at the strip club alone.
I mean, that's
first
a fair
of all,
assessment.
I have company. That's why I brought money to the strip club. All right,
So goddamn
it's for the company. If I'm eating at a strip club, I'm not alone.
You look like you're in a strip club. Ernest looks like he's in a fucking van.
I mean,
this is the boiler room. That's what this is. And yes, that's the name of a strip club.
Like that's not necessary.
Gosh, these guys in the comments just coming at it. I haven't done anything. I don't even know who this guy is. Anyway, what game are we on? Baltimore, right? Oh,
Yeah.
right. Actually, one of my favorite takes, and I'm actually really glad Matt made the Steelers play because I saw a comment on somebody going off about how they wanted to bench Lamar Jackson in their fantasy semifinals because he doesn't know how to play Pittsburgh. And I was like, well, that would be the most ridiculous move I've ever heard. And I say that being the person that wants to bench Daniels against the Eagles, but I'm not going to do it. But here's the thing. I think when I read that comment, I was looking at things and I was analyzing the game. I think it's getting real good in the comments, folks.
I bet this bald dude has
Cheese
a
porn?
cheese
Really?
Like, and then he's taking a shot from a koala, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm genuinely
You guys got all the qualifications.
intrigued about cheese
Come
porn.
on here and say
Right. I mean, like, cheese porn sounds kind of cool, actually.
I mean, yeah. I'm wondering, like, is there any nudity at all? Like, is it? Or is
Gouda,
it like,
Gouda.
Like, I need to. Like,
is
I
there
like
soft
to Google
core
that
cheese
tonight
porn?
after
That's
the
what I'm
show.
looking for. Just nude ladies eating some like real good, like sharp provolone or something. I might be into it. You might be onto something here, Paul. What everyone's not onto is the fact that I don't think Lamar Jackson has a Pittsburgh Steelers problem. I think he has a TJ Watt problem. So everything that Mike said, I think TJ Watt limiting his ability to get outside and limiting his ability to work his way through the pocket is a huge reason why he's had a Pittsburgh Steelers problem. So even if he plays but is on a limited scenario or isn't at 100%, I think Lamar Jackson finds more success, and I think the Ravens do enough not only to win this, but to give me the Ravens all the way. And yeah, I'm going to take the under too. I think the defenses are still going to do enough, but I'll take the under even though it's a low number.
Yeah, here's the deal. I think the under is the only real smart play in this one. Only twice in like regular season games, and I say that because of the 2020 COVID year, but only twice since 2017 has a Steelers-Ravens game gone like at or above 45 points.
No,
so
it's going to be a slugfest. Yeah, like a
it's just
running
what this
slugfest,
rivalry
yeah.
is. Bet the under if you're going to touch it. But and then, I don't know, maybe it's something you say at the strip club when you're eating lunch. I don't know. But
no, you're not allowed to say that stuff at lunchtime. They'll kick you out.
But yeah, I think with the injuries both on offense and defense, I think the Ravens cover the 6 here and win this game pretty easily. It's not an indictment of the Steelers as a team or a coach unit, but right now they're just really banged up, and they got to hope they get healthy on both sides of the ball heading towards the defense or towards the postseason, because I think that's going to be the challenge for them. And then we move to Sunday, 4:05 Eastern time on Fox. It is the 12-2 Minnesota Vikings. They're a 2.5-point road favorite at 8-6 Seattle. Your over/under is 42. EJ, I said that's 42 is your over/under for the Vikings and the Seahawks. 42 is your over/under.
More than 41. It's less than 43.
EJ, we'll start with you.
What's your under again?
I hate your guts.
Swear to God, EJ.
If you think I'm trusting the Seattle Seahawks now, you're out of your fucking mind. Minnesota is smelling blood, even with their schedule being rough going forward. I just kind of slightly. I don't trust Seattle. You already know my team this year. Give me Minnesota to continue rolling.
You have too many teams, EJ.
Yeah, I get it. And what was the under again? I'm sorry, over.
This fucking guy.
Love you, everybody.
Did you take the over or the under?
I'll take the over.
Jesus Christ, you just kept asking what it was. You didn't even fucking say anything.
Nothing is over!
Mikey B.
You know, Monsoon, I'm going to go ahead and take Minnesota, where I was the governor from Saturday Night Main Event, baby. Give me the Vikings. Give me Skull. And I will take...
You may hear this guy? I hang out at strip clubs, but he talks like this.
Well, maybe take it to the Baja.
I was gonna say you got to work on the Ventura there.
I know it's been a while. I gotta work on it.
Not your
man. He rambled, but he rumbled and stumbled.
That's exactly
I
what
love John
happened.
Madden. I love John
Here
Madden.
we
I'm
go.
really glad you used that fucking soundbite. At least I didn't get called a cheese porn subscriber. At least I have that going.
Cheese porn?
To be fair, I've been called way worse.
Wow, you
I
go to the bar.
called him worse. Actually,
Now you go to the bar and order a warm glass of milk.
yeah.
Why don't you just tell that guy to order a warm glass of shut the hell up?
Anybody who thinks I order milk at the bar does not know me at all.
He should have stopped at cheese porn. Like
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was a good finish, Paul. You dropped the ball there.
all right, Matt.
Hi, can I get a nice glass of warm milk? No, you get a nice glass of shut the hell up.
All right, Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll take the Vikings since half the Seahawks offense is injured and hobbled. I will take the over on this one.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, I think it's not quite as obvious as it looks. I think Seattle is a tough place to play, obviously. So that's to their benefit. The other thing that's to their benefit, and I forgot to bring it up earlier when we were talking about Minnesota, is Minnesota. Like, they've rattled off 7 wins in a row, but I mean, it's literally Chicago, Atlanta, Arizona, Chicago, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Indianapolis. So it hasn't been exactly.
Sucks.
Yeah, it hasn't been a slice of the best the NFL has to offer. Now you got to win the ones that are in front of them. The trouble is not that many of them were that decisive. So looking at that schedule, I've started to think, like, the good news for Minnesota is you found yourself here. The other good news is what Matt just said. You're going into Seattle, but it's against a banged up Seattle team. I think Seattle is going to keep this close. What's my actual spread on this game? I lost
2.5.
Yeah,
no, it's not much. Okay, so basically even. I'm still gonna take. I'll take the Minnesota Vikings at 2.5, only because it doesn't feel right for Seattle. But I think a fully healthy Seattle would probably take full advantage of this situation. But yeah, give me the Vikings here. Give me the 42. Did you say 42, James?
I did.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm just kidding. I'm looking right at it, EJ. I do listen when he talks.
Allegedly.
Give me the over here. I think Seattle puts
There we
just
go.
barely. I think Seattle puts up just enough of a fight, and Sam Darnold throws for just enough touchdowns to put this over.
MVP Darnold.
Stop
that.
it, EJ. Jesus, man.
It's in a conversation, right?
All
Top
right.
five?
No, it's not.
Breaking news: Sam Darnold out 4 to 6 weeks
man.
with a fucking high ankle sprain.
Well, now you just cursed
EJ
the
Christian.
Vikings.
Thank you, EJ Christian.
The fucking worst. No, I this is a Vikings game to win. I know like Seattle is a tough place to play, but the Vikings are better. The Vikings are just better. I will
tell that for
I'll
the
take
Packers.
the over as well. I don't need a whole lot of analysis on this one. They're just better.
By the way, Seattle's point differential +2. I just looked it up.
Oh, all year? Wow.
All year +2.
Not great, Bob.
Yeah, tough place to play. The Giants won there. 2-win Giant team.
Which is currently Paul Peters
Fuck outta here.
over under currently right now.
I mean,
+2.
I mean, to be fair, Seattle is a tough place to play. You guys just
not this year.
Trouble is, it's a tough place for Seattle to play too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right. Tough place to play for who is the real question. All right. So that's where we leave the NFL pick'ems for the week. We will make our way to the power rankings. No dance for Kyle this week. If anybody wants to try,
I'll channel my Kyle.
Oh Jesus! Don't do that, Sean.
Well, I'm already here in the boiler room.
All right, we look at the best and the worst teams in the National Football League, EJ, and our top 10, bottom 5. EJ, let's start on the right side of the graphic. Who is your bottom 5 this week?
I almost submitted this the bottom 5, but the Giants at like 37. I really did. Would you have done it for me?
No.
Okay. Fuck. Okay. Matt, that's not funny. Okay, stop. Not funny.
That's what you get for your attitude towards me.
Don't say it's over. Okay. Anyway, 28 Jaguars. 29 Patriots. Welcome back, Patriots. 30 Raiders. 31 Titans. 32 the Dayballs.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bottom 2 are the easiest. I think you can insert, as we've done all year, you can insert quite a few teams in 28, 29, 30.
The only reason the Raiders are on the bottom 2 is because they've been competitive, at least in their games.
That and the fact that Will Levis just got benched for Mason Rudolph.
Well,
I mean, let's be real.
Look. In EJ's defense, that happened after the lists were submitted.
Right. True.
But the Titans should have been.
They benched Mason Rudolph in the middle of that game. Thanks, Will Levis, for 3 scores in a Bengal win.
The mayonnaise Messiah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my question for the bottom 5 is. What did the Jets show you to leave the bottom 5 and put the Patriots in? Because all they did was beat Mac Jones.
Yeah, they beat Mac Jones.
EJ's getting nostalgic about QA Ron Rodgers.
They gave up 25 fucking points to Mac Jones.
Look,
I get it.
Brian Thomas, not Mac Jones.
Look, EJ's anti-vax messiah, Aaron Rodgers, has had 2 good weeks. Just let him.
All right, fine.
Let him have this one. Let him have this.
If they play the Pats this week, they beat the Pats. They beat the
I
Jaguars
put the
again.
Browns in my bottom 5 instead of the Pats, honestly.
I mean, I'd be
Man, that's
fine
the
with
case.
it.
I think in a week
understand
after we see if the quarterback changes.
But the Matt's point here, what has been a theme the last like fucking 10 weeks now? Like you could put like another 5 other teams in this fucking bottom 5, it wouldn't be foolish.
Yeah, I understand why you don't have the Browns in there because you're still clinging to the playoff hopes. But
yes, I am.
I just asked because the Jets were in your bottom 5 last week and they're not anymore. That's the only reason why I asked about the Jets. I understand that there's about 45 teams that could be in the bottom 5, but you know,
also, I'm a Winston Homer too. Florida State. Anyway, no, that's good.
So does that mean that you're rooting for the Giants to draft DJ Uiagalelei since he's a Florida?
No. He played what 3 games this year.
All right, EJ, who's your top 10?
Oh, we got newcomer number 10, the Buccaneers. Number 9, the Broncos. 8, Packers. 7, Steelers. 6, Ravens. 5, Vikings. 4, Lions. 3, Chiefs. 2, Eagles. 1, Bills. All right, boys, fire away.
Why did the Lions free fall to 4?
The injuries are a fucking massive concern at this point.
But Patrick Mahomes has a high ankle sprain, and you turned this list in before the power of Christ compelled him.
Well, the power.
They fell 1 spot ahead of him.
Mahomes won in the playoffs last year.
Thank you. That's all I need to know. Thank you, Matt.
Matt, you're good at this game. Really,
I think he won it with a high ankle sprain.
Championship pedigree.
3A, 3B.
He has one every year.
Jim, 3A, 3B.
No.
Kyle's like, Jim, stop it. Jim, stop it. Kyle's not here. You don't get bitched out for this time. Come on.
Sit there in your throne of lies. And
I really like this top 10.
Get your mouth shut.
It's very close to mine.
Oh, really?
I don't have the Bills at 1, but the rest of mine looks very similar, including the Buccaneers. But apparently everybody else jumped that ship. Good for you guys. Thanks for
Buccaneers.
thanks for hopping in.
Buccaneers jumped in on everybody. I moved the Lions to 4. Look, it's not about one. And even when it wasn't known that Mahomes' ankle was touched by an angel, but
it's a good show.
But it's to me, it's the mounting number of long-term injuries for the Lions, and they fought back. They almost found a way to win, which is another reason I didn't have the Bills at number 1. The Bills' offense is great. Their defense is the opposite right now.
That's why they dropped for me. Is I feel like to be at the top of this list, you got to be good on both sides of the ball.
I'm not willing to put
team that's both.
Yeah, I'm not willing to put the Chiefs above the Bills. But right now, and I love the Lions. Like I would love nothing more. To not have to put the Lions where I put them. But I think. Shut up, EJ. I'm trying to help you because you're not good at it. But yeah, I think it's just the Lions. It's the mounting number. It's the fact that they have an entire defense that wasn't on that field 6 weeks ago. So
Jim, 10 starters for week 1 not available right now. 10 starters. It's insane.
It's insane.
10 starters, and they've lost 2 games to 2 teams that are in the playoffs.
Correct.
If they started today.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
I think that's the wildest stat out of anything is the fact that their 2 losses are to 2 playoff teams, and they haven't had a slip up against a bad team yet. Now, is that potentially coming this week against the Chicago Bears? Very well possible. And then I think we have to readdress the Lions from there. I'm just asking, we've talked on this show that the Kansas City Chiefs are the luckiest football team in NFL history in the year 2024.
They are.
They just are almost like the most vanilla team in football, and I don't understand how we have them anywhere.
Say those 2 words, Michael. Say those 2 words. You hate to hear.
No, I'm not going to say it because I don't agree with championship pedigree for the reason why they're there. I think the reason why we're there is the same reason why people actually think that Patrick Mahomes should be in the MVP race, because they're 13-1 and they've only lost 1 game, because they think that team accomplishments are the reason why people should be in awards, which I think is stupid. At the end of the day, they haven't looked impressive. They haven't. I mean, Jameis Winston looked like absolute dog shit, and they only beat them by 14.
Yeah. No,
a Browns team that Matt has said would be in his bottom 5. A Browns team that we all agree looked like crap. A Browns team that's now going to Dorian Robinson-Thompson as their starting quarterback, and we're like, they're healthy.
It's
and I don't know that they're healthy is enough for me to boost them ahead of Detroit. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, right. And for me, it's not about what the Chiefs did. It's what's happening to the Lions.
Right.
Like they gave up 48 points. I understand they scored 42, but I think that's also a lot about what the Bills are and aren't on the defensive side of the football. They only beat the Packers by 3, and that was the Packers having to make their own mistakes. They only beat the Bears by 3, and that was because the Bears collapsed. The Bears had that game, in control, and then they bared. So
that was the most embarrassing finish of the year for any team.
Right. So the Lions have, again, they're 12-2. That's awesome. And I like the Lions. But when I look over the last couple of weeks, this is not the same Lions team that I think it was a couple weeks ago. And it is just because of the mounting injuries. And it's not a mounting injury of, man, these guys are banged up right now, but they're going to be, 95% healthy at the start of the postseason.
Okay, then let me pitch this hypothetical. Dan Campbell doesn't kick an onside kick like an idiot. Kicks it deep, they hold him to a field goal, and Detroit gets the ball back and wins this football game. Then where do we stand?
Well, I would agree with that if it was the first questionable decision at the end of a game that he's made. You
live with Dan Campbell, die with Dan Campbell.
Well, and that's just it. You're living and dying with him, and unfortunately, at this point, without the strength that they've had on the defensive side of the ball, now if these guys all fill in and they keep winning games, and they start to show us like, hey guys, we're fine. Could they rise back up this list? Sure. But I think I'm kind of with Jim here that like, not only is it the risk of what's going on, it's like what we saw in the last few weeks while it's going on, and it's a little concerning. I'm glad to see that the good twin has the Eagles at number 1. I don't think. I mean,
I heard
you guys that have the Bills at 1, I guess that's fine. But I mean, for the Eagles to not be there, there's one team in this top tier that has looked good in the last few weeks on both sides of the football.
I mean, I can tell you why I have the Bills at number 1.
Why? Josh Allen?
No, they fucking score.
They do score.
They score in bunches. I mean, we're sitting here. They put up 90. They also put up 35 against the 49ers.
Right. But
they
when
also
your defense is going to give up 30, 40 points, you
but
have
we
to.
but we talked about the Detroit Lions giving up.
Hold on, before we derail on Eagles versus Bills. The thing I'll answer to Mike's question about the Dan Campbell onside kick that didn't work out well. If he kicks that ball deep, there's also no guarantee that the Lions defense stops the Bills.
That's why
from marching a long drive and basically running that clock out and not giving the Lions a chance to even get a game tying or game winning or whatever touchdown. So
you're not wrong. I said it whenever it happened that I thought it was because he didn't think the defense could go and actually hold them.
He recognized the problem. Yeah.
Right. So yeah. I mean,
so now
if the Lions win, if the Lions win, I probably still have them at my 1, because they were able to beat the Bills. But
Me too.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah, and
I
I did have a question for Mike. I'm not going to go back into the Eagles thing. I just, it's the only thing on the Eagles I will say is that I've heard Kyle like the Chiefs are a defensive team, like defense. Like for me to be at the top of this list, the defense has to be playing well. They say defense wins championships for a reason, and right now the Eagles are number 1 in both yards and scoring defense. So I the fact that they've won so many in a row and done that, it's why I shifted them up there. I'm very aware that it could be a jinx. I'm very aware, but I just didn't see a team that was playing better than them right now. My question for Mike is, when we were talking earlier, it sounded like, I'm not saying you were very pro Falcons, but it sounded like you were very much a believer that Penix or not, whatever, that the Falcons were going to catch the Buccaneers. Are you saying that that's going to happen? And if so, why are the Buccaneers in your top 10?
I don't know that they are going to catch them. I think that they have an opportunity to.
Okay, that's what I didn't understand.
I have Tampa at 10 because of the fact of the matter is they've ran off 4 straight. Their offense looks like it's finally clicking on all cylinders. Their defense has been playing
good.
Their defense has been playing well. I know it's against the Giants, Panthers, Raiders, and a perennial playoff team in the AFC and the Chargers. But that being said, I think I look at the way that they beat the Chargers this week. I think that's the reason why they cracked the top 10. Plus, the Chargers lost. Plus, Seattle lost, who I had in my top 10 last week. It was more of a
Some teams dropped out.
The 9 and the 10 both kind of fell, and it was like, okay, like we're gonna put a team, and we're gonna give them the praise for being victorious in a game against a playoff team. And I think that's the reason why they ended up in the top 10 this week. Now, honestly, if they beat the Chargers by 3, then maybe I'm readdressing my situation. But
they're doing it with a statement. Like
correct.
These couple games, they're not sneaking by. Like
correct.
Higher
they're not.
Teams are.
They're not doing a Kansas City Chiefs and escaping the Carolina Panthers.
They
They're
stepped into their own driver's seat and they know how to use the gas pedal. It looks good.
Correct.
You want to talk about a low key MVP candidate?
No.
Baker Mayfield. That motherfucker is bowling.
Who are you saying?
Baker Mayfield. You want to talk about like an underrated?
Josh Allen's the MVP.
Man,
No. We're not debating.
Wait,
hold on. We're not debating that. I'm saying that you want to talk about a dark horse guy? Baker Mayfield.
Dude, there's no dark horse.
And without Mike Evans and
no, but that's just it. This run has come while Mike Evans has started to get healthier.
Even when they're out,
Mike Evans
even when they're out,
better that team is. Mike Evans is the MVP.
So if you're not debating that Josh Allen is the MVP, why are you bringing up a dark horse?
I'm saying
there's no dark horse. It was Josh Allen or TJ Watt, and TJ Watt was never going to win it anyway.
It was Saquon Barkley or Josh Allen with a
and I
dark
think,
horse of Lamar Jackson.
And I think some of the things I said about the Eagles, like with the top tier defense and some of the other weapons, I think there's a lot of scenarios on the Eagles roster that are hurting Saquon.
Of course. Yeah.
You know, like it's hard to pinpoint him as the guy, whereas Josh Allen is clearly. You can say James Cook, but I'm going to laugh at you and hit you in the mouth because I don't think he's good on another. He's as good on another team because you're preparing for Josh Allen, not James Cook.
Yeah,
the Baker Mayfield MVP talk can end with this: 163 yards against Denver, 180 yards against Atlanta, 116 against San Francisco, 200 against the Chiefs, all in losses.
Yeah.
So for me, the reason I have the Eagles over the Bills, since their week 4 loss to the Buccaneers, which was the last time that the Eagles lost.
Yep.
They have scored more than 25 points in all but 2 games. And they have given up more than 20 points twice.
Yeah.
Like
they are balanced. It's a balanced.
And I promise you I'm going to take something for the nausea after this show. They are to me the most complete team.
I agree.
Playing in the NFL right now. Now,
as someone who mentioned EJ making a good point earlier, I would recommend whiskey for the nausea. That's what I would recommend.
There we go.
You said they scored over how many points?
Over 20. They have scored over 25 all but 2 games since week 4. And they have given up they've only given up over 20 twice. In that.
And all it took was a press conference with Jalen Hurts.
Shut up, EJ.
God damn it, EJ.
Matt.
No, all it took was AJ Brown and Devontae. All it took was AJ Brown and Devontae Smith actually getting healthy. Let's
sure.
AJ Brown's been healthy since like week 5, and guess what? They haven't lost.
That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm saying. They got the weapons back to make Saquon Barkley even better.
Yeah,
exactly.
The James Cook,
like you know what I mean.
He's even better than James Cook.
Like this.
I mean, Josh Allen is also doing it with who at wide receiver.
Right, that's why he's the MVP.
We've all said that. Is my mic working?
Yes, but what I'm saying is it's the offense. It's the offense. But then you tell me the reason why they're won is the defense, and I understand that. What I'm saying is if there's an offense that's doing it with less, putting up 40 points a game and only scoring 20 points less than twice since the same amount of period, it would be the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills have scored 44, 48, 35 twice. They're putting up points in bunches with nobody at wide receiver.
But the trouble is like Jim said, is when you're holding teams to under 20 and you have a running back like Saquon Barkley, and I would argue even Kenneth Gainwell in spelling situations, and an offensive line like the Philadelphia, you don't need to score 40 points. What are you going to try to push in the fourth quarter for? You saw in the Steelers game, they could have scored another touchdown, but they didn't. They stuck to their guns, and they drained that clock. And they were like, you know what? Why even give Russell Wilson a chance to even pretend like the Steelers are going to score?
Like for me, putting the
Steelers
Bills
had one scoring drive in that, like one legitimate one where it went like 65, 70 yards. And they didn't do anything else in that entire game. And I know Pickens isn't playing, but the rest of that offense is. And they couldn't do anything in that game at all. And the Eagles just used that to their advantage.
I had the Bills at 2 last week. I kept them there this week, and it's not about what it's not a shot at the Bills for what they aren't doing offensively. What Josh Allen with less weapons than Philly is doing offensively. It's more about what the Eagles have done with their weapons back, but they're doing it on both sides of the ball. Now, maybe these last 2 weeks for Buffalo have been kind of an anomaly.
Right?
That they've given up 44 to the Rams and 42 to the Lions. Maybe we're going to look back on these 2 weeks and go, what the hell happened? But right now, if I'm building this list, I look at the fact that the Eagles throttled a team on both sides of the ball that I had at number 5 last week. Like, yes, the Bills beat my number 1 team, but they almost didn't. And like, what if the Lions had recovered the onside kick? What if they kicked it deep and held the Bills and and ended up going down and scoring. Like then the Bills would have dropped. So it's not about anything that the Bills aren't doing for me. It's about what the Eagles are and what the Eagles are doing on
and
both
I don't
sides.
hate the Bills at 1. It's not like I think that the Eagles, like on my list, are like I have the Chiefs in between there only because I didn't know what to do after the Eagles. Like I wanted to put the Vikings at 2 till I saw the schedule they've run. I was like 7 in a row. That's really impressive. And then I looked at it and I was like, well, actually, it's not that impressive. So I kept them at 5, and I'm going to give them a chance if they go in and they beat Detroit at the end of the year. Maybe I bump them up going.
I mean, hold on. If you're going to use that as the reason why you don't have the Vikings at 2, I think I have more questions, but
I just
Browns,
Giants.
Giants.
I didn't want to push the Lions or the Bills out.
Okay, if
I still think they're better than the Vikings.
If that's the reason, then I can live with that because, I mean, with the exception of Baltimore and Pittsburgh and potentially the Commanders, out of the 10 in a row, it's kind of, you got your guys' schedule hasn't really been the murderer's row either. So it's like if you're going to use scheduling as a reason, I think we need to have another.
It wasn't just the schedule. I also looked at it, and it's like I didn't feel like the Vikings handled Atlanta. Like I think that was a. It's weird to call it a statement game for Sam Darnold, but Sam Darnold put up some numbers in that game. But there's other ones like a close win against Indianapolis and a close win against the Titans, and like there's some teams at the bottom like Jaguars, Titans that both put up fights against Minnesota that made me a little concerned. And because of that, I'm like, now I have enough concerns about the Vikings that I just can't drop teams that I know in my heart are better than them below them. So I didn't. And that was pretty much it. But yeah, I just I had the Eagles, and then from there I had my 2, 3, 4, and I went from there. But
I got a question for the panel. I'm glad you teased the Vikings there, Sean, because we all had the Vikings number 5, all 4 of us. Mm-hmm. Do you guys view the Vikings bigger picture as a actual legit Super Bowl contender?
Only because their defense.
Hold on. EJ, are you doing the thing?
You know it.
Where so it's not actual Super Bowl contender. It's one of the 2 teams playing in the NFC title game.
Like,
do I see them as a potential to play for the Super Bowl?
Like, do you see a scenario they're playing in the NFC title game this year?
Okay, that's the question. Not Super Bowl contender.
Okay. So are they able to play in a title game, a conference title game? I think they're capable. Yeah, it's for the Vikings. I think matchups could hurt them, and I think they're gonna. They may make me look silly if they were to go and handle the Lions at the end of the season. It might be injured or not. It would be a statement game for them. But I could see them, but no.
I'm with you.
If you're asking, could I see them playing?
Because that's the thing.
I think their defense is good enough that if they play at their best, they can beat anyone ahead of them on a particular Sunday.
Right.
But if you're asking me, would I put money on them to be in the NFC title game? Absolutely not.
I wouldn't either. Like for me, like I would still say like,
and that's why they're at 5.
Right.
Because I entertained the idea of them as high as 2. I entertained it, and then I just went no. They don't have the things going for them that I think are 2 teams.
Right. They're at 5 because they're 12-2 and deserve to be at 5 because of what they've done this year. But if you're asking me, are they definitely better than Green Bay? I'll say no. Are they definitely better than Baltimore? No. I pick Baltimore against Minnesota in the game.
Okay. You can't talk Baltimore if you're talking about NFC title.
No, I'm just saying in general. I'm saying in general. I'm just looking at the teams that who you measure up against. Like I would still pick Baltimore against Minnesota.
Why?
Head right now.
But you're kind of changing the topic of this.
No. I'm just saying in general. They're hard to grade because
Bye, Matt.
We're still waiting for.
Yeah, bye, buddy.
Oh, he's been gone. Yeah. No, you're waiting for LSU to drop, and I feel like Sean and I in the same boat with this one. I don't know how you guys feel, but I know Sean and I
don't in the same boat.
Shut up. No, the other shoe to drop at Minnesota. Like we're like, this is impressive, but there's a but. Now these 3 weeks though, with the schedule going forward, was it Seattle, Green Bay, and Detroit?
They have a tough road.
They will
really make a name.
These 3 weeks will show a lot.
I think the Vikings are better than the Packers.
I mean, why will it show a lot when they beat a team who we've on this panel said look bad and can't win at home, a team that's got Jordan Love that they've already beaten, and a team who's got in and a team who this panel has said, and everyone else in America has said is depleted by injuries. At this point, if the Minnesota Vikings don't finish this stretch at 2-1 or 3-0, I think there's a problem.
Well, and I think that's just it. I think for me, it's like, do they keep the train rolling, or is this seemingly tougher schedule too hard for them?
Because you mentioned the schedule. These like 8 games, you said they won in a row.
Because beat up or not, the Lions are the only team that's outscored the Buffalo Bills, so that's something.
Yeah.
Their offense should still be fine. I think the Jahmyr Gibbs thing could be really interesting for them. See if they kind of just are like, you know what, let's run the ball, control the clock. They limit their own scoring. Just to like use clock and keep that defense fresh. I think that'd be a fun take, but that's for another time. TJ, the big takeaway is that all of our lists are exactly the same.
I will say this because I didn't really answer Ernest's Vikings NFC title game. I'm gonna flat out say no. I don't think they're gonna play in the NFC title game. I don't think they beat Detroit Lions, even though they're hurt. And here's the deal: if they're not the 2/1, guess what? They're probably going to play Philadelphia in the semis to get to the NFC title game, and I don't think that offense can keep up with the Minnesota or with the Philadelphia Eagles offense.
Not in Philly.
That's what I'm saying. So I mean, I truly don't believe that offense, and I'm not even going to say the defense thing. I'm going to say I think Philadelphia's offense is too explosive and too powerful. Minnesota will probably put some points up. We'll be able to score because of the Addison-Jefferson combination, and that's okay. But the thing is they will have more drives end in 3, where Philadelphia will end in 7.
The Eagles like to eliminate the first look a lot, and then that would hurt them.
Because to Mike's point, I agree with 100%.
So here's the thing. To answer the actual question that EJ asked, which could you see the Vikings playing in the NFC Championship? The answer is yes. Because I think the only teams that are better than the Vikings in the NFC right now are the Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions. Now, that all that said, like in 2 weeks to close out the year, the Vikings play the Detroit Lions. If the Lions continue the trend of losing, 1 to 3 players a week, the Vikings, if they stay healthy and with their weapons and Sam Darnold starting to even play better than he was earlier this year, I like the Vikings in that game. Now, I'm not locking that prediction in. That's still multiple weeks away. But, could I see a scenario where the Minnesota Vikings end up playing the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly in the NFC title game? Yes. I'm not predicting that it will happen. But because of what's happening with the Lions roster, that leaves the window open. So because EJ asks a very open-ended fence-sitting question, I will give a open-ended fence-sitting answer.
Of course.
Could you see them maybe possibly
being? I'm saying no.
To play for a Super Bowl, but not
if you're asking me, will the Minnesota Vikings win the NFC? No. Will the Minnesota Vikings,
are they a Super Bowl team? No.
Right. If the question was actually straight up asked, will the Minnesota Vikings be playing in the NFC title game?
I have a better answer.
Today, my answer is still no.
I have a better earnest answer. If the Minnesota Vikings somehow go 3-0 and host throughout the entire duration of the playoffs, can the Minnesota Vikings then potentially host an NFC title game with the potential of possibly maybe being the team to represent the NFC in the potential Super Bowl?
Maybe.
There you go.
See.
Okay. All right. We're good then. Thanks, guys.
All right. That gets us to our closing segment. As we do each and every week, we look at what will happen this weekend.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
That's one of the worst Capitals losses of this season, by the way.
I had that over, so fuck my life.
2-0 lead in the third to the fucking Blackhawks. That's a bad loss. Anyway, what will happen this weekend, Sean?
What will happen this week? We kind of alluded to earlier. I'll take a semi-easy road here, I guess. I think the Baltimore Ravens, I don't want to say embarrass the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I think they take advantage of where the Steelers are, and they take advantage of what's been going well for them. And I think the Baltimore Ravens step into the driver's seat in the AFC North.
Lock it up.
There we go. Mikey B, what will happen this weekend?
The SMU Mustangs will go into Happy Valley and absolutely blow the doors off of Penn State. James Franklin, welcome to the hot seat, buddy.
There it is. If that happens, I see a scenario where Franklin gets fired. Because here's the big thing with like, will Ryan Day get fired? Will James Franklin get fired? The question that always gets asked is like, who's going to do better? But it's at some point that doesn't matter anymore. And if Penn State gets embarrassed at home, it's over for Franklin. If it's a close loss, whatever, you can try and fix things in the portal and look ahead to next season. But yeah, if they get mollywopped, it's done.
And that would be another scenario where home field advantage disappears, like we talked about Ohio State.
Oh yeah.
If SMU jumps out early, that place they won't leave, but they'll be real quiet.
Well, and the word is like they're having trouble actually filling that stadium.
That's insane.
Like the average ticket price right now for that is around $50 or $60.
That's incredibly affordable.
And you got it. Like, I mean, what the
given
wild
it
part,
holds 100 and
yeah, I mean, they're already done for the semester right now. So you've had a lot of people head home for the holidays. And yeah, so I'm curious to see what that stadium's going to look like, actually. But yeah, I like that one, Mike. EJ, what will happen this weekend?
Yeah, speaking of tough losses, we lost to Nashville tonight, so 2-0. Oh well.
He says we. I
EJ,
think
your entire season has been a loss for your alleged fandom, New York Rangers.
Season's over.
The Rangers season is over.
They've been struggling the last month or so. Anyway.
They suck.
He said we, and I was just like, who the fuck is we?
So
and then I was like, oh, the Rangers. Okay, yeah, I'm with you. You're a hockey fan.
I just looked up tickets for
allegedly
the opening round of the playoffs. Oh my god. The fact that the Notre Dame game, $385, hospitality, premium hospitality, not a ticket to the game for that game, $637. SMU versus Penn State, $64. Clemson at Texas, $99. Tennessee at Ohio State, $119.
Yeah, right after it went on sale, the Notre Dame resale tickets were over around $1,100.
So you got to pay.
I mean, the opposing team being incredibly close helps that.
It does.
It does.
But yeah.
My lock is it doesn't matter if Michael Penix Jr. is playing. The Giants will get boat raced by the Falcons by double digits.
Oh, that's so lazy.
What a gutsy take.
So fucking lazy.
I can't wait to watch Penix have a great game, and then it's like, oh, the Giants lose by 6, so we can come in here and laugh at you next week.
I mean, we'll laugh at him anyway, whether it's that or something
else. As long as we lose, I don't care.
Man, I have 2 written down. My
say both of them.
My first one is kind of similar to Mike's. So yeah, I'll give the second one, but I say at least 2 home teams, that being definitely Penn State and Ohio State, will lose. I
love that you were vague, and then we're like, no, but I seriously though, it's going to be these
seriously
2.
Penn State and Ohio State. But I said at least 2, so there is obviously potential for hopefully
or like a Texas. Or,
but my other one actually, the NFC North. And I do write these down ahead of time, so this is not related to what we've been talking about this show. The NFC North will go 1-3 this weekend with the Bears over the Lions as the only win.
Whoa,
that is an incredibly specific.
Wow, not a homer pick.
I like
that a lot.
I like to go specific with my locks.
I also hope you're right with the Chicago. Go Birds!
Yeah, that would help the Eagles for sure. All right, so just to house clean a little bit. With next week being Christmas week, the following week being New Year's week, both Tuesday nights are the Christmas and New Year's Eve. There'll be no live Tuesday shows for the next 2 weeks. It sucks. It's a horrible time of year for this scenario to fall on us, but it is what it is. Hope everyone has a good holiday. We will be putting content out. I have plans for a record on Monday to preview the next round of college football and the NFL slate next week. And then I will have a similar thing, which actually I think the next slate of college football games doesn't even happen until the following week, if I'm correct.
So there's a bye.
They're not even. Are there games next weekend? Mike, do you know?
Give me 1 second. I'll look right now.
Um,
I have ESPN up. Just let me
They
click
don't
on.
do a bye every week, right?
No, I think they go right into the.
No, so the quarterfinals are on New Year's Day. So
Correct.
next week will just be I'll just make plans for the predicting the NFL slate. Maybe I'll throw a couple of college bowl games in there, and then the New Year's Eve show.
That would be the preview of the college. No, New Year's Eve is actually Boise State versus insert team here in the
Right.
the Verbo.
The following week will be the quarterfinal previews.
Okay.
As well as the NFL slate, but that'll be another week where we are not live because it's
Cool.
So yeah, next 2 weeks is
holidays.
Is no live shows the next 2 weeks. We'll be back live in January. But that gets that business out of the way. Sean, let them know where they can follow you.
All right. Well, if you want to follow me, I guess you could head out to the strip club or whatever was going on earlier.
Boiler room.
The boiler room.
Or you could probably just much easier, just hop on the Twitter and follow me at Sean Shine State. It's a fun ride, not the most exciting ride. Not a lot of things getting posted out there, but every one of them is either funny or informative. So feel free to add me to your list there. And I will make one more promise. Whatever the Secret Santa gift that arrives, I promise to hold that out till I'm either on a recording or maybe even that first January show. I promise not to open it. If it's one of you guys and whatever's in there is alive and requires being fed for whatever reason, let me know ahead of time, because otherwise it's going to stay in a box until January. But anyway, go Birds. Enjoy your college football. It's going to be a fun time. Holidays or not, there's a lot of fun football coming up. So,
can't wait.
Yeah, enjoy yourselves.
All right, Mikey B, let them know.
You can send all your hate tweets for the show to @EJChristian7. That's @EJChristian7. You can follow me They Call Me Burn. You can listen to me talk about the end of the year awards with me and Student of the Game Kyle Nash on the Student of the Game report. Ding. Otherwise, everybody have a safe and happy Christmas. I will probably not be available for those shows because I work Monday nights. So I will make a formal prediction here. Quack, quack, motherfuckers.
I love it. EJ, let them know where they can follow you.
Well, first off, as we enter the 2025, he's a quarterback. Okay, he's a quarterback.
Yes, we remember your rant.
No, you guys know. Let the rest of the world know he's a quarterback, for the record. Anyway, Twitter, X, what the fuck you call it?
Nope.
7. Yeah. Blue Sky, motherfuckers. Blue Sky, EJ7 as well too. First Week Podcast, all podcast catchers. YouTube channel at youtube.com/Ernest Christian. And guys, serious note, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. If I don't see you guys next 2 weeks, see you 2025.
Make sure you're following Student of the Game at the SOTG on his platforms. He has a link tree, I know for a fact, in his Twitter. So make sure you hit that. Check out all the stuff Kyle is doing. Matt is at Teaching to Acquire on Twitter. So make sure you go follow him as well. He had to bounce out of the show. You can get me at Big Jim Sports on Blue Sky, but make sure you are following along with the show. We are at Huddle Up Podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Blue Sky, Twitter, TikTok, well, it's still there, at Huddle Up Podcast Inc. on Instagram. We're at Huddle Up Inc. on Twitch. You can get our merchandise over on our TeePublic store. Just make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, rate and review wherever you can. Spread the word about the show, even if you're kind of a wisecracky guy like Paul over there. We enjoy the banter. We love the interaction. We appreciate the support as always. I do sincerely hope that everybody who hears this show that you and have supported the show, you have a very Merry Christmas, a very happy holiday season. Like I said, there will be content the next 2 weeks. We will not be live. We'll be back in live in the new year. So we hope you have a happy and safe new year as well. Until then, stay safe, stay smart, and as always, go for the win.